What's going on, guys? How you guys doing? Oh, he's on time. He's live. Audio is balanced. We are ready to go. At least I think we are, because I did switch things, so audio might not be balanced. But we're close, at least. How are all of you doing? I hope you had a good day. My day was long, but that's all right. Tons of fun? What's up? I haven't seen you in, I want to say like 3 episodes. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Peep the new icon. Ooh. Is there something fun about the new icon? Oh shit, it's custom art. Let's go, tons of fun. That looks very nice. Very, very nice. What up, Undead King? How you doing? Hopes and prayers that this one is going to be good. Episode 6? Well, we're on episode 7 right now. I was going to say, episode 6? It is pretty decent. Pretty decent. We're on an upward trajectory. Yes, I've been away for a few weeks, but I'm back now. Hell yeah, tons of fun. Let's do it. Very, very nice. No, and hey, no sweat, no pressure to be here. I was just giving you some crap. I missed you. But yeah, we are... Actually, wait, I was about to switch to episode 7, but before that, let's talk episode 6. Takeaways, themes, lessons learned. I learned. Aw, thank you, tons of fun. I learned about episode 6 that Matt's pretty good. That was my main takeaways. Oh man, Matt has his missteps, but he's actually like a pretty good DM. Hot takes abound. What up, Senior Chewy? Yeah, no, 5 episodes late, but that's okay. Yeah. That's all. No, man, it's all good. Tons of fun. Or are you talking about me realizing that Matt's a good DM 5 episodes late? That's also a possible meaning there. No, he's pretty good. I still have some gripes here and there. But he's pretty solid, especially with, what his players give him. Not saying that like the players are bad, but there's a lot to manage at the table. Oh yeah. Yeah, about 5 episodes late. Yeah. Yeah. He still doesn't talk about smells enough. And this is not total praise. My other takeaway, probably Matt's biggest weakness, I would say, as a DM, is that I do not think he pressures his players enough. I do not think he keeps the heat on them when they're in a dangerous environment. That's probably my big takeaway so far, is that he's a little too permissive. He's a little too like, oh yeah, go and loot the bodies. Here's 20 gold for your troubles. But on the whole, he's pretty solid. Other than that. What up, AKL? Wasn't able to catch the last video or VOD, but I will have this on the background at least. Glad to see the clickbait titles on... Yeah, certainly, man. I mean, gotta... And here's the real shit, AKL. Click-through went up. I don't... It sucks that clickbait actually works, but I'm gonna at least try to keep them a little silly. If I have to do them. But yeah, I know that's why we can't have nice things, is facts and truth. Honestly, one of the reasons that I don't have to get too clickbaity is, and this is, this might be a little mushy, but it is legitimately because of all y'all in the Discord. You guys are like the solid base to the stream. That means I never have to even like don't really have to try that hard to clickbait. Like, I'm gonna do it, here and there. Maybe try to get some new folks online, but yeah, I don't have to go too crazy. The other thing, if you haven't been here to see the new digs, the new elements, we got a new overlay courtesy of Eden the goat, and I'm liking it a lot. And the other thing I wanted to say, it's unfortunate, they have this like playlist that I use, campaign Vox Machina 1, make sure I get all the right episodes. And I did see that Kavarn revealed is episode 10. Now, I have not watched it. I just wanted to point out that I know that Kavarn will not be revealed. So Lady Kima will keep her secret identity for at least 3 more episodes. For those of you that missed last episode, I am still on my crackpot theory that Lady Kima is Kavarn. And even now, we've met Lady Kima at this point. I've seen her. I've seen, her eyes go white. She gets a little radiant fire, whatever. All illusion. All misdirection. I am wholly convinced still that Kima is Kavarn. How do you feel about Clarota? Okay. Oh, I have complicated feelings on Clarota. A+, theorizing, very logic, no flaws. Exactly, AKL. No flaws. This is my audition tape for game theory. Matt Pat, where are you? No, I love the game theory. I'm subscribed. But no, Clarota, I have complicated feelings. I like him as a complex ally. I think that NPC allies are best when they are complex, when they are not just like A+, no hesitation, amazing good guys. Like, I think that an ally should be somehow separate from the party in terms of their ideology, their actions, what have you. I think that makes for good drama. However, I don't like how the players view Clarota, because like Matt is playing Clarota well, like really well, and he is showing like Clarota do like some like quasi, not like evil stuff, but like some really uncomfortable stuff, and the party's just like, hell yeah, Clarence, let's go, baby. Like when the Darragard general like ran away and Clarota was like, no, and then went over and sucked his brain, everyone in the party was like, woo, that's our mind flayer, hell yeah, baby. And I was like, what? And then when they confront Lady Kima, and Kima's like, no, I don't fuck with mind flayers. Are you guys joking? And they're like, no, Clarota's actually really chill. And they have big like she's not like the other girls energy. And Lady Kima's like, that they like suck brains, right? Like you're aware of that, party. And party's like, yeah, but Clarence doesn't. And Clarence does. Like, I don't know what we're talking about here. Because Clarence does suck brains. He sucked brains in front of you. He just sucked the brain of one of your enemies. So it was like, okay, I guess. So I think, like, as a design of an NPC, as a place and device within a narrative, I think he's awesome. I think the PCs have a hard case of PC-centered morality, and that's okay. But if I were Matt, I would be poking that bear more often. I think he's kind of poking that bear with Lady Kima and like how she was introduced and how she reacted to Clarence. But I would have preferred during that interaction for her to have pressed the party more on like, really, like Clarence has never done anything fucked up. Really, you're sure? And then they would have kind of had to confront that. But overall, I'm liking Clarota. I'm liking him overall. I really loved the entire interaction with Kima and Clarota and the party. I thought it was some really A+ role playing on the. Now I'm just using A+ for everything. AKL, you got me all fucked up. I thought it was some really good role playing on the party's part. And I'm interested to see where it goes. Who do you trust more, Kima or Clarota? Obviously Clarota, because Kima's Kavard. And that's only half a joke. I legitimately, and I talked about this in the last episode when they were like having the confrontation, and Scanlan like straight up threatens Kima. He's like, look, dude, like we came to get you, but Clarota's our ally and he's been helping us, and like we don't really know you. I thought that was like, I thought it was. I don't know if Sam was doing this on purpose. Her being down there is a little sussy baka. I'm saying. And we didn't see any blood. We see like scars and wounds, but all of that can be done through disguise self. Where's my mask of many faces, warlocks? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm schmaying? So like, it's only half like, oh, she's Kavard. Like, I think my theory actually does make a little bit of sense. But no, like, I don't know if Sam was doing this on purpose, but when Scanlan, who I know is supposed to be younger, Scanlan's supposed to be like, I think under 20 at least. I think he's like 15 or 16. And I think that he did a good job of embodying the kind of black and white ideology that is a little bit more common when you're young. Like, there's always the phrase, like, from the mouths of babes. And, like, you find out his age eventually. Okay, yeah, I think he's young. But, like, from the mouths of babes is not, like, a bad thing. Like, that sort of very passionate, very stark ideology can be bad. Like, it can have some very bad effects. But it can also be a very interesting foil to, like, the, hey, everybody, let's just chill out. What up, John? So I really appreciated Scanlan just saying straight up to Kima, like, yeah, we're here to recover you. But if you mess with our ally, you're our enemy. Straight up. You either stand in our way or you don't. And I thought that sort of stark reality check was a very cool way to play a young character. Bidet? I don't know what that word means. Is that Austrian? I have no idea. I know that like German is like Danke. Or that way, that's welcome. Bidet. B-Day. Is it someone's B-Day? Whose B-Day is it? Happy birthday, someone. I don't know whose it is. I can't see it in the chat. Does it say in the chat somewhere? No. Oh no, I'm all confused. I'm all fucked up. Oh no. Well, I'll just keep pushing on in my in my Scanlan discussion. Bidet. B-Day. Bidet. Bidet. Bidet is a traditional critter greeting based on a mispronunciation of good day. Oh my god. Okay, I'm learning lore. I'm assuming critter is critter cuz critter is a critical role. Is a critical role fan. Okay. I'm learning terms right now. I honestly thought you knew that one. Dude, I don't think most of you understand how little I know. A fan of Critical Role. Okay. Yeah, no. Okay. So Bidet. Very cool. Now I know. What up, Bidet? It's a thing that happens later in C1. Okay, sick. Very cool. But yeah, so all in all, I really loved that interaction. Maybe, if I am really nitpicking, I think I would have had Matt, challenge their PC morality a bit more. But all in all, I think that was kind of resolved by having the resolution of the scene be Scanlan's very stark morality on the matter, because it at that point it kind of wouldn't have mattered if they had been confronted with their PC morality, because Scanlan is sort of embracing their PC morality. He's being very tribal. He's like, yeah, it's us and them, and if you're not us, then you are them. Which is interesting character work. So I liked it a lot. Yeah, overall though, even if we assume that Kima isn't Kavarn, this is awesome. Meg is a sweet summer child. I've been told. I've been told that in terms of Critical Role, I'm a sweet summer child. But yeah, I thought that resolved, even if we assume that Kimvarn, exactly. Even if we assume that Kiva is not Kavarn, she's still not trustworthy. Like, we don't know what they did to her mind, to her brain, to her feelings. We don't know if she's on their side, and that whole shit was staged with the torture. Like, we didn't hear any like torturing happening when they entered the Ember Hold. So I guess they were just like, we caught him right at the beginning. Like, who knows? We have no idea what's going on with Kima. No idea what sort of shit's going on in her head. Whereas we know that Clarota is at least saying that he's on our side, and so far we generally believe him. So I'm inclined to believe him. I still don't think, Kima brought up a really good point during the argument. She was like, you really think that the other mind flayers are just going to be chill? They're just going to like let us all walk out of here? And the entire party was silent except for Tiberius, who's like, yes, I do think that. Which again, funny character acting, because it's like, oh, yeah, maybe Clarota is not a reliable narrator here, right? So I thought it was good that she kind of pressed him on that. But overall, she's way less trustworthy, because I at least trust that Clarota wants to help. I have no idea what's up with Kima. But all that is in the past. This is now. This is the throne room. So I'm assuming we're assassinating someone? Fighting someone? Very confused, because Kima just wants them to go to the armory or the treasury. And I doubt that that's through the throne room. So I have a feeling that, again, she's not quite as chill. Well, she didn't really claim to be chill at any point. But I have the distinct feeling that she's going to throw some wrenches in the plan. Which is very cool, to have someone that you're supposed to transport have a fucking will of their own rather than just being cargo. Very, very cool. Very fun narrative. Good for drama. Love it. So, we'll see.
Welcome to this evening's episode of Critical Role. I'll be with you in just a second. Unfortunately, we're down in Travis Willingham tonight, but Grog's...
No! T-Dog? Travis the Goat Willingham? No! We can't be down Travie. I was saying last episode that I was conflicted. I was like, oh man, I missed Scanlan more than I thought I would. I know I will feel Grog's absence. That's so sad. Oh man. Very, very sad. Let's see. Where's the guy? Oh, there is no guy. Oh, timestamp is blah, 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 bringing us past the intro. We're going to go past the intro. Because while I love it and I like seeing all of the, the stuff around it, the shirts, the merch, etc., I think you guys will let me know in chat if I missed something big. Which, speaking of, John, I know we had that conversation about, timestamps in that channel. I'm more than down for you to tell me if you think I missed something in live chat. I have bad organization brain where I get very easily distracted and overwhelmed with a lot of text if it's not where I feel like it should be. So overall, I appreciate you, man, and feel free to let me know if you think I missed something in chat. Oh no, why sad face? I love you, John. Hearts out to John.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the next episode of Critical Role. We unfortunately are down one grog this evening, as I mentioned before. However,
I agree, all members of Critical Role. I agree to cry our eyes out.
We're missing him terribly, so we'll see what terrors will transpire in his absence. However, though, we do have some fun things to announce real fast. First off, we're still giving away promo kits for every 50 subscribers we get, so we'll be having those randomly drawn from everyone in the chat room every time 50 subscribers are joining the channel, I guess you would say. Also,
I was working pretty much right up until I started stream, so I do have small dinner that I will be eating. I will put the mic away so you don't have to hear me chew. Yeah, heart does break silently, dude. Oh, this is gonna be a rough one. Maybe we should just do it on 1.25 speed. Just get through it. It doesn't have grog. It's not worth it. I'm joking. We're gonna watch it all the way through, but it's very sad. I can skip to 2033. Okay, I'm sick.
every 10 proper.
Ooh.
And that's where we left off last time. So, hope you can absorb all that, guys.
We are inside this fortress.
Correct.
We are moving towards the armory. We're trying to find the armory or something, is that right?
You're trying to find, essentially, or Lady Kima has mentioned she wants to find the rest of her equipment, which she says is either an armory or she mentioned a vault. And also she knows, she mentioned something about vengeance to those who run the keep. She stormed up.
That is why it might be called.
You've followed her back up to the base floor of the Ember Hold itself. You all currently are now back kind of where you started after you snuck into the side passage of the Ember Hold.
She said she would lead the way to the vault.
Can we just sort of listen or sense, like be quiet for a second and see if there's any footsteps around us or guards marching around? Are we in immediate peril or do we have a second?
Everyone go ahead and make an immediate perception
sorry,
roll.
didn't mean to pause. I was trying to make sure that all the audio was correct. Sorry about that.
Okay, so fast. The website went live.
No, ma'am.
If we want to announce that now or later.
2?
No, 22.
Oh, 22.
28.
13?
24. Fail. 10.
That's a fail. All right,
Sweet.
so gotta be ready.
Ooh. 27.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll give you half of that.
Nearly at the ready. All right, so as you all take a moment and kind of still yourselves, your ears perk up, and you can hear what sounds like echoes of distant footsteps down hallways far out of sight. You hear some movement across the stone ceiling above you that eventually comes to a stop. And you wait for about a minute, and the entire place is now in a very eerie silence.
They know we're here still.
But they don't know where we are.
No. Maybe they went to sleep.
So I did say this last time. In general, I thought that the entire confrontation of like going into the basement, doing the fight, finding Lady Kima, confronting Lady Kima, I thought all that was great. Because you remember how during the recap of episode 6, I was just saying that I don't think that Matt kind of keeps the heat on, keeps the pressure on the players enough. But I do think that he actually did keep the pressure on very, very well in like the last like half an hour or hour. Like when they're actually in the Ember Hold. Them actually getting to the Ember Hold, breaching the wall, I think he could have kept the pressure on a little bit better. But once they were actually in there, the one time that they almost fell to shiny disease, as I've been calling it, as I think someone else in the chat told me first, the moment they might have fallen to shiny disease, he narrates like someone tromping around upstairs. And like they walk past, like they don't come down, but it makes the place feel sufficiently different enough to or not different, dangerous. It makes the place feel sufficiently dangerous enough that they can't just sit around and rifle through people's pockets. Eat whatever the cast eats, yeah. I did okay. This is a little peek behind the curtain, actually. During episode 1, if you go back and watch the VOD, I actually do drink for that stream. I really like drinking wine. And I am of age, so it's all good. And so I was drinking for like most of that stream, and by the end I was just like getting so quiet, just because I was like, I don't feel like I can give good takes right now. I was like, I was just like watching the episode, and I was like, I can't transform this in my altered state. So so there might be an ep, if we know of an ep where we don't think I'll have like a lot of time to give takes or what have you, maybe we'll do a drinking challenge. Maybe we'll do some sort of like I don't know. We could do like a drinking game, like take a swig every time they loot a body when they shouldn't. But yeah, in general, I'm like, I just can't keep my mind on stream while I'm drinking. So we'll see though. Maybe I'll become an expert. Maybe I'll just get it in my bones. I'll be goated someday and I can keep up with their drinking.
Lady Kima, do you remember where the vault is? Do you remember how I can get back there?
Kima turns to you, her eyes still peering back, and she's creeping towards the edge of the hallway. She looks back at you briefly and says, I've only seen half of this stronghold before they captured me. As far as I know, it's probably somewhere on the second floor.
What floor are we on now?
Ground floor.
Ground floor.
Right, cool. So it's just one up. one more.
Apparently.
Okay.
Or double, if
Were
you'd
there-
like to think of it
double
that
if
way.
Were there stairs, when we went down that set of stairs there, was there also
Stairs
stairs
going up?
going up right there?
There
or
were
no?
stairs right there? No.
Yeah.
There were
No.
stairs going up in the first room you entered.
Oh,
Right.
right. So we can
Yes.
go back in the little storage room
We could.
and go up.
We should just spend the next 3 hours in the storage room.
Let's go in the storage room
Also
and go
fine.
up.
Up to you guys.
Lady Kima, allow me to take a peek around the corner. See what's going on. So I'm gonna go stealth.
Okay. Go ahead and roll stealth.
An inch past her. That's good. 29.
29, all right. She begrudgingly steps back. You can see there's that
Dinner done.
that eagerness to get in some sort of a fray or to feel something else bash against the side of this great sword that she borrowed from you guys. She lets you pass. Creep up along the edge. As you do, you see back here, there is in the middle of this hallway a series of doorways and what looks to be a large room in the center of the chamber where two Duergar currently stand.
Turn back to the group. Alright.
Hello.
How about the other way?
Oh, why don't we just kill them?
Isn't that a corner, a dead-on corner right there?
This is another hallway.
Oh.
Another hallway.
Sneak up yonder, maybe?
Let's go kill the Durgo.
How dark is it in here? Is it like...
No, it's pretty dark in here. Like with low light vision, you're able to see maybe a good 30, 40 feet ahead of you.
Well, no,
There
well-
are a few of those red crystal clusters that give off a little bit of light incrementally, but Duergar themselves, you've gotten to the point where you see they like it very, very dark. They actually aren't needing light. This is more of a courtesy to guests they may have.
So potentially, brother, we could take a...
That is fantastic. That is something that I think a lot of people do not take into account when considering races with dark vision. Like for how much players love to be like, oh, I have dark vision. By the way, DM, I have dark vision. I think DMs constantly forget about it, especially when they're building structures that are primarily inhabited by races with dark vision. Now, I know that, like, dark vision doesn't give you, like, complete sight within darkness. It's like, darkness becomes low light becomes bright light. But I think that this is fantastic. Just being like, yeah, the entire place is in low light because, like, it's easier and they don't need bright light. So that is, like, a really good passive sort of deal to implement within your structures to make it feel more thematic and real. Now we can have a whole discussion about dark vision as a mechanic in 5e, but using the mechanics that are there, I think that this is very good dungeon design.
Both out if you throw a knife and I do an arrow.
Wait, didn't we see further past that? Because that's
No,
one room
this
where Grog did
is the area that we haven't been in yet.
Yeah.
I just put up a hand
I thought that's the
and
hallway
then
where
sneak,
we all got out of the way.
slip around this direction.
Downstairs.
And also, by the way, I don't think that if you're doing this sort of thing, that you have to be like, oh, the red glowstone cluster is like bright light within this many feet, and then dim light, and then it like overlaps in these certain places. I don't think you need to do any of that. You can if you want. Like if you're really into that level of design, and like I don't know, you're on Roll20 and you have like the dynamic lighting, and you have, you know, all the fog of war, and you want to do all that, sick. Like go for it. But if you don't care about that, I do not think it's necessary for you to have this kind of cool environment. Just saying, yup, the whole place is just passively in dim light, I think is good thematically and does not need any more complications.
Slip down this second hall that you revealed.
All right. As you step past, you do see this room here is a little ajar.
Yes.
The inside looks to be a storage room. There's just a series of boxes, barrels,
Where's the
and
jar?
various.
Maybe you can put yourself in a
Jars?
box and walk around.
Yes, Metal Gear Solid it.
I continue to creep away from my sister. Specifically.
All right. You glare down the side of this hallway. It leads to two other smaller rooms down the way with a split towards the back end. There does not appear to be anybody visible in that hall.
Right, I got this. I'm gonna keep going.
Wait, what about us?
Why are you doing this?
All right. So you go past this way.
All right, so this sort of thing is incredibly frustrating most of the time, but also, like, if you think about it, like, tactically necessary. He's a stealth-based character, and it is very good for them to learn this information. So how do you make it feel good? How do you make it this giant horde of people not feel bad and bored about the whole situation, about him doing his explicit job? How do you do that? And they've already done it. It's the earrings. I talked about this, I think, in episode 3, maybe episode 4, that I think that the earrings, like some sort of at least limited telepathic communication, is one of the first magic items that I like to give to players. If they don't already have a character that has that sort of ability. Because silent communication doesn't actually make stealth characters that much better, but it makes playing in a game with a stealth character way easier. Now, Liam is choosing to ignore them, which is its own level of like fun and silly. But he doesn't have to. So like if he gets into a situation and he wants to call them up, he can just wiggle his ear and they're coming. Which makes this entire situation so much easier. Because imagine Liam gets into a fight, gets captured, way far away of them. They can't hear it because, you know, it's all stealthed. And then let's say that Liam gets knocked out, right? As players, you know that he got knocked out. You know that Vax is down. This is all assuming you don't have the earring, right? You know that Vax is down as a player, but you don't know it as a character. What do you do? Do you waste a bunch of time, even though you know you're wasting time, like waiting for Vax to get back? Like, it puts you in kind of a weird bind as a PC. Whereas if you have this telepathic communication, you immediately know what's up if something's wrong because they've stopped replying. It just makes playing easier. And I don't think that it's that much of a power boost, honestly.
Then look
Dude, Durgar, we can take them out in a second.
down this hallway. There appears to be an opening to this room, no doorway.
But my brother goes on a
This
field
additional
trip.
room, you do not currently see an entrance.
An opening that's not a doorway, or?
I mean, there isn't a door in the way. It's
door
just an
open.
opening.
All right, so I'm going to press against the wall, up to the edge, wait for like 5 seconds, see if I can hear anything, and then if not, curve around and peek in.
Perception roll.
Zub, 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 zub. 20.
20. You take a moment and listen. You hear what sounds like a light crackling of some sort of a fire, and the occasional dull ring of metal being hit against metal.
Yes.
What was it? Metal against metal?
Okay. I'm going to get low to the ground and peek in the door.
The armory.
All right. Peeking through, you do see, indeed, it is some sort of a smithy with two kilns or two anvils set up, a work table in the center, and there is one lone Durgar that apparently, in the middle of his work, has not been paying attention to any of the ruckus going on around, and is just in the middle of hitting some sort of long, thick piece of black iron, and just ting, ting, sweat dripping down the front of his brow. The room itself is, even into the corner of the doorway, you can tell the temperature is a lot warmer on the inside.
And his back is to me currently?
It's kind of to the side to you. He's currently working out the anvil.
He's looking this way?
Yes.
But I see the door on the other side. So I take the
Why don't you just keep
earring,
going forever?
Yeah.
Take the earring and I whisper to my sister. Come, follow along.
I've been invited on the field trip, guys.
Just you?
Just me.
Come on!
Who else can stealth?
I'm a stealthy
cannot,
panther
actually.
right now.
Definitely.
Turn
What?
invisible.
I'm a stealthy panther right now.
Do you want to be something and pop in my pocket? That sounded wrong.
You haven't had a short rest yet.
I was to say I'm
still a cat form.
Still a cat
okay.
form, but I can accompany you.
That I should not go with you. I can't stealth for shit right now. I rolled a 7.
Send Scanlan up.
Scanlan,
Huh? What?
my brother's calling for you.
You feel the oppressive force of Clarota's voice in your head simultaneously say, I can also accompany.
Oh, Clarota can hear. That's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Also kind of means that he's probably like passively spying on their thoughts, but what have you. Okay. So they tried to do this last session and Matt put the kibosh on it. He did not put the kibosh on it this time, and I really think he should have. The roll, you as a player, you do not make a roll and then decide whether you want to do the thing based on the result. Like that's just not allowed. Like you it doesn't matter whether like whether or not it failed, like how it failed, like just listening to them talk about him. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Them listening to Clarota, yeah, probably. Yeah, man, like, I generally like Laura's play. I haven't disliked it a lot so far, but that, if I'm mad, I'm like, no, you said you were going. Like, I would not have had you roll if you weren't going. I don't know. That's sort of, like, inherently not D&D, but it's fine.
Ooh.
Good plan, Clarota.
All right. I'll step ahead and go invisible.
All right, so mark off your next
Yep.
ability spell. As you vanish, Clarota also kind of waves his hand for a moment, and his image disappears the same way Scanlan's did.
Ooh, he does that too?
Apparently.
What did he do?
Yeah,
He went
apparently.
invisible.
Went invisible.
Oh, look, that's scary.
Cute.
Yeah,
Alright.
sorry.
It is scary that he could do
We're
that.
walking down a hall. Nobody's watching us.
As you're humming to yourself,
Oh
you're fine, you're fine. You make your way down and eventually towards the back of where Vax is
I
pressed
can
against.
feel Scanlan's flute pressing into my buttocks.
no! That's not my flute!
So I turn to them, and then I pass the door.
Okay.
I'm going to go around the corner to that other door.
All right.
Of the door.
And now I'm going to stab a Dorgar in the neck.
All right. Go ahead and roll for an attack.
Just a simple.
Natural 20, natural
That's how you start the game.
Start the day.
It's a good day. I feel like it's gonna be a good day.
Alrighty. So,
We love us a critting assassin. I mean, to be fair, he would have crit no matter what. As long as he hit. But still fun.
go ahead and roll damage. This is sneak attack because he was not
Okay.
aware you were there.
I'll just use my keen dagger, I think, for...
Making my way.
This is a pencil, right? Okay, 11. How do you make it work? 11.
All right.
8. 13.
We get him in the neck so we can't yell.
That's
60,
33.
66.
You don't multiply the modifier. The modifier goes on at the end.
66
So it's the
damage?
dice roll plus your sneak attack, multiplied by 2, and then the dex modifier at the end.
Okay.
Just the plus.
That's a lot.
Okay.
Just
So
plus
that's only like what, -5, so it's like 61.
7, I think, right at the end.
Hey, you guys have fun in chat. I'll just be chilling. Y'all with all your inside jokes. Feel free.
Yeah, that's right.
So that
So
was
it's the
4.
damage plus the sneak attack, double that.
And then add the plus 7 at the
So
end.
4
That's
plus
28 times 2 plus 7.
26.
Splitting hairs here. That's enough. So
1 plus 2 plus 2 plus
you
1.
hear this tink, tink, tink.
I mean, that's good on Matt. Like, it's good to remind him of the mechanic and how to do it, but also just be like, whatever, it kills him, because there's no shot that it won't.
That's it. Without even a guttural noise, the dagger buries itself in the base of his skull. You see him just slump down to the ground.
I catch the hammer and I start going tink, 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 and wave the 2 invisible beings into the room.
Hey, what happened in there?
We're here. We're ready to fight. What do you need us to do?
Hey, man, as long as I don't understand tons of fun, I'm fine. I don't, as long as I have no idea what you're talking about and you don't explain it, you guys say whatever. Feel free.
Kima.
The only thing you're allowed to give me, and I've said this, is episode numbers. If making my way, if you know what episode that's in, feel free to tell me that. But yeah, just don't explain it, and we're all good.
At this point,
Kima,
kind of like
Kima.
you can see her like her hand kind of tensing around the sword.
But I love that you guys have fun in chat. I'm all about it. Also, Discord frogs. I did a lot of work on the Discord today. It probably looks very similar to you. But hopefully especially like the get rolls area, hopefully it looks a little bit nicer. The homebrew also has like its own thing. And the reason that I did all this is so that I can like add things easier. Now I just have to add things to like this same chat message, and there'll just be more emojis along the bottom. So it's just gonna be way easiar to scale. But I hope that you guys like it.
Looks back at Grog,
Or at least don't hate it. If it's neutral, also a success.
whose hands are also ringing this great axe. I want to kill something. She kind of glances off to the side and sees the other Durgar that are there.
Go in.
And she's going to go ahead and run around.
Oh, see?
Don't
this
waste
is why
my
we
natural
don't-
20. Kima.
I know, what you doing, girl?
Man, you can't control Kima.
This is why we don't have AI in the party, guys.
Yeah, no.
You can't control the AI.
Bro, this is why you don't take escort quests. I had a party that I did this sort of thing with them when they were on an escort quest where like the person they were escorting just kept causing trouble. And after that they swore off escort quests. And I kept trying to give him to him. I kept being like, "Oh, like it'd be really nice." And they're like, "Nope, we'll hire bodyguards. Yep, go on your way. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Never an escort quest. Never again." Funny.
No, you guys are telling a very, very angry woman right now to be patient. Doesn't seem to make a
Can I
ruckus.
sneak up to the
Wait,
corner
she's okay.
of
Never
the-
play with NPCs.
At least, so I can be ready to attack those two
Over to here?
bastards.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna
Trinket,
look
who
to
hasn't
my
seen you in a
left.
while, sneaking to your back.
I sit there and I kind of pet him as I look around the corner.
Okay. Trinket is enjoying the petting. Alright, so that Durgar is down. The current armory section appears to be completely open and at your disposal. There are a series of partially made weapons kind of scattered in a pile. There are some ingots and even some raw iron material kind of in the far corner. Other than that, it just looks like your general smithing workshop.
Sorry, I forgot. I'm not in the streaming voice channel. What the heck is that? What is this music? Okay, this is a new experiment. All of y'all in Discord. I'm starting a stage. Now, this is mostly a test, and I think that like weird lobby, I think that lobby music was from the. Hey, maybe I'll look up that track. That was kind of groovy. I don't think that this will be necessarily useful for the normal, watch throughs. But what the F? Yeah, but I made this, so I think now you guys can theoretically get in the audience, which again, I wouldn't necessarily matter for like normal streams, but if I ever wanted to do like a homebrew review, or if, we ever wanted to do like a Q&A, like I could pull up a speaker and have you guys like ask the question in voice chat. So I don't know, kind of something interesting I found while I was redoing a lot of the stuff. But anyways, apparently it plays a groovy little tune before you start it.
Us now?
The weapons are. Kima is currently looking around the section. She enters the room with you guys and
Kima, do you see any of your equipment here that you wanted?
She glances around, goes and like moves some of the piles by, turning over the room as quietly as she can. Not as quietly as you'd like, but quiet enough. No, nothing's here.
Can't you just take one of these things and call it a day?
She glares in the direction of your voice.
I'm invisible.
Right. This will do me just fine for now.
Oh.
But let's keep looking.
Okay.
She leaves the room. She starts heading down.
All right, I'm following after her, tiptoeing after her.
Okay.
We should go after her because we're all gonna split up.
Yeah, into my earring I say, zubba, 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 zubba.
Shouldn't we?
And then I keep going.
I guess let's all go
Is
in that back
zubba
way
the
and see if we
keyword?
can stealth around.
Okay, for everyone else, stealth check.
Oh boy. Let's just,
Here we go.
That would be a
Natural 20.
Yes.
disadvantage on you, Pike, because of your heavy armor.
So that means I roll twice?
Roll twice, take the lower.
I take the lower one.
So as that happens, I want to cast Mage Hand, and I want to cast Light on it, and I want to slowly have it drift. Down
They're
the
both
other.
concentration spells. You can have one or the other.
Have it.
And Mage Hand is an actual object, unfortunately.
Okay. Fine. Instead, I cast.
Ay. Jenga. Zuba. Oh, man, more inside jokes. Okay, dude, another instance of it. Dude, this is just, I guess, a general call to players. I don't know if it's just them or if you guys have ever had trouble with this. I've never really had trouble, True. Poor Pike. Actually not poor Pike. That's what you get for having high AC. Fuck you. You don't get heavy armor and stealth. You can't have it both. But no, fuck. And I said it last time because I think I don't remember who was trying to do actions after the roll. But Orion is kind of the king of this. Of like Matt tells them to do something, and then or they say they're going to do something. Matt tells them to roll, and then after they all roll, like Orion then tries to like influence it. You can't have it. You can't have it all, man. That has not come up yet. The in-world year has not come up. Also, I know I say it all the time. Whenever I criticize Orion, I have to point out that I know something happens with him. I don't know what it is, and I'm forming my opinion separately. But he is very much the king of like trying to take an action just because he can talk and like totally like ruining the pace of the actual in-world fiction. Like if the DM tells you to roll, that is the result of the action you just did. So you need to let that full action resolve before you then take any more. Like you cannot influence it after the roll is called for. You can say before, if the DM says, hey, will you roll stealth? You can say, hey, before everyone rolls, can I try to influence that DM? And then the DM can say whether or not. But once those dice hit the table, your lip should be zipped until the DM tells you the result. I think that is not cool, personally. I mean, I was just, same thing with what Laura did earlier. Like, you gotta let things ride out. You can't try to influence them after you see that you did really well. Or did really poorly.
Prestidigitation, and I make a small little glowy orb, and it's like little flickery, and I cast a thing. I can maybe travel like 15 feet.
Okay. And where are you casting it? Just in the middle of this hallway here?
No, to my left.
Here?
He wants to see in the dark place.
I want to see in the dark place.
This, there is no entrance to this room currently, from what you can see. It's just a wall. There is a door on the opposite side.
Now it's a well-lit wall.
Alright, well, I follow after the bear.
Alright. So, what was your stealth roll?
Oh, it was 17.
17. Roll for trinket?
Oh, gosh. I just got what I got. Crap.
Yeah, exactly, Senior Chewy. You gotta let it roll. You gotta let it play out. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of the rolling. Like, if you weren't gonna let the rolling ride out, you might as well just not have it. And there are TTRPGs that do minimize the impact of rolling, or at least, like, limit it a lot more than D&D does. And those systems are perfectly fine. They're just not D&D.
Not good.
Add to it.
Nothing.
The dex modifier. Trinket's
Right.
dex modifier.
Okay. Hold on. Yo, good. 11.
11. Alright, so as you guys are making your way down the hallway, slowly,
I kind of clamp my hand over his mouth and tell him to shush.
you guys make your way down here. One of the Duragar glances over,
Oh boy.
mutters something to the front of his side, and
I
begins.
heard the bear. I start sliding my back down along the
Oh
wall.
crap. I turn
No,
around
no, no.
and notch my arrow for them.
Okay. Trinket moves
I
past.
hold everybody at the. I'm gonna walk up to the very, very edge of the hallway.
Waiting.
Hey, I'm behind the bear.
Bring me right here.
And I'm stabbing. Stabbing. Stabbing.
Okay, holding right there.
Stabbing.
Oh, the return of the laser pointer. I love me that laser pointer. Never used one IRL for my games. I'm going to next time. That laser pointer is a fantastic idea for pointing onto battle maps.
Matthew,
Yes.
I'm behind the bear.
You move behind the bear?
Yeah.
Alright, you are right there, and they both see you.
No, the other bear. I mean, the other side of the bear.
As you're walking behind Trinket,
Bro, again, he said I'm following behind the bear. And to be fair, Matt didn't like move him all the way. But then like the Duragar walked down the hallway and now he's like, "Oh, actually I'm on the other side." Brother, you gotta let shit play out. Come on.
it all just transpires simultaneously. So,
No, the third
So
bear.
they see
I was
you.
moving with them.
right, and they saw the bear, and then saw something move behind it. Their attention was gathered. They see you, and they start walking
Stabbing
towards.
Duragar. Stabbing.
However,
Duragar.
as they pass in there, you go ahead and get one shot at this guy as he passes past you. Go ahead and make your attack.
I wave at them.
Okay.
Can I go ahead and move up next to Percy?
Hello? I don't think they're our friends.
Why is that? That's...
Unfortunately, the space is a little limited for your size. You're gonna have to wait for the rest of them to let you by.
Oh well, can't like Grog's.
I'm feeling it already. Again, I don't know what it is. I honestly haven't been that annoyed by Orion. Like occasionally he doesn't pay enough attention, which is a little bit annoying, but like that of like trying to mold the situation after you see the like trying to retcon your decisions, and then when you are told that your decisions cannot be retconned, just being like, well, hello, and like doing something that you would have never done unless you knew the results of dice rolls, right? Tiberius would have never done that. Ooh, man. I'm getting a little annoyed. I don't actually know that I've been this like legitimately annoyed at any of the players yet.
Behind me. He's not here.
Cooling down. I'm getting past it.
He's big. He weighs 600 pounds.
You're a big cat right
I'm
now.
a big kitty.
I got 15.
15? 15 does barely hit.
Okay. So, same keen
Go ahead
dagger.
and, as you whip around the corner, fire 2 arrows.
17.
All right. Second one?
Oh.
Same guy or both different targets?
Same target. 'Cause
Okay.
There's one in front. He's
Right in front,
attacked
yeah.
the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one hits too. That's 19.
Both hit. Go ahead and roll damage on both.
32 for me.
Okay.
Yes.
So So as you watch them both walk past you, one of them just continues past with his hammer out, kind of rushing towards whatever he sees moving at the end of the hallway. Probably Tiberius after a trinket. The next one that comes past you, you reach around and just take your dagger and swing it across the back of his neck area. You manage to sever the base of the spine and he just crumples into a pile in front of you. The other one, damage?
22 with the 2 arrows.
The 2 arrows?
9 and 13.
Both arrows impact his chest. The Durgar kind of steps back for a second, surprised by the moment. Looks really furious and begins to step forward, his size enlarging.
I knock him right in the face with the butt of my gun as he rounds the corner.
All right. Go ahead and make a stealth. Go ahead and make a stealth check to see whether or not he sees you.
I can't use my previous stealth roll.
Not for this point, because it's an active weapon.
8.
Okay.
I think that's...
So you still get the attack, but you don't have advantage because he's aware you're there. As he's running past, he looks over and glances and sees you at the corner of his eye, just preparing for the blow. So go ahead and roll your attack.
What do I add to this, by the way? I've never done the physical attack.
Well, you're hitting it with the blunt. So go ahead and roll a d20 and add your strength modifier and 4.
All
right. Yeah, that's exactly what you. Oh man, Matt just binking the rule for improvised weapons, just like out the gate. Yeah, that's exactly what you do. And then I want to see. I mean, so there's another kind of the question here is, are you going to I mean, okay, actually, I need to back up. So there's actually 2 options with improvised attacks. I love improvised attacks, by the way. That's why I immediately got excited. I love improvised weapons, improvised attacks. I made one of my characters that I made for like a 2 or 3 session arc where I got to play was a guy who only used improvised weapons because I thought it's just so much fun. And you don't add proficiency, which is dope, unless the weapon resembles another weapon that you are proficient with enough that you can consider them the same. Now, with a pistol, I would be hard-pressed to not say that that's like a club. Like a small hand club that I think does 1d6. I feel comfortable saying that that a pistol whip is equivalent to hitting them with a club. If you don't, that's fine, and you can just do exactly what Matt's doing. But for me, I would probably rule, that's enough of a club. Are you proficient with clubs? He's a fighter. He's proficient with everything. So in that case, you can do strength plus prof on the attack roll. And then for damage, you would use whatever the club stats are. Again, I think it's like 1d6 plus strength. If you don't consider it a club, you just consider it a random improvised weapon, then it does 1d4. And not plus prof, unless you have Tavern Brawler. But
Nat 20.
Look at
also nat 20. Cool.
flashing.
And it flashes. Yeah, it's a natural 20.
All right, so go ahead and roll damage. It is a 1d4 plus your strength modifier.
It's a good day.
So that would be 2d4 plus my strength modifier because it's a natural 20.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's 6 points of damage.
Well, it's 5 on there, right?
My strength modifier is 1.
Okay, so it's 5 times 2. It's 10 plus 1, 11 points of damage.
11 points of damage.
Which will do it. As the Duragar sees you, is rushing past with the hammer, about to pull back and swing at you. You rush out from behind the corner with the.
Dude, I'm sorry that I'm so impressed that Matt got that, but I feel like most people do not know the rules for improvised weapons just off the top of their dome. And no one has used one, to my knowledge, since they started stream, which since they started stream is when they started D&D. And I know that the rules are different in Pathfinder, so I'm just color me impressed, Matthew Mercer.
With the blunt end of your weapon and just smack him in the side of the temple.
Girly scream.
What's that?
We're good. We're good.
Unconscious on the ground. Alive,
He's
but
not dead?
unconscious.
Oh, can I, so he's at a disadvantage, basically?
He is incapacitated.
So can I go up to him and slit his throat with my Mace of Disruption?
You
Make sure he's dead?
if you'd like to.
Yes, I want to.
Okay.
Slit his throat with a mace? I guess you could have some spikes on it, sure.
Is that really bad, though?
Pike walks up and grabs the
Oh,
back
wait,
of the Durgar's
we're making
hair,
my
pulls it back,
gadget
and using the jagged edge of her mace of
no,
disruption, tears open the throat of the Duragar, which then spills all
They're bad
this
guys.
black.
Okay. I will say. So remember what I said earlier about like dice hitting the table. That's the moment. That's no return, right? Even a creature that is incapacitated, you actually do need to roll to attack. And Ashley was clearly starting to regret this decision. And I know that it seems silly. Dude, a lot of them are little savages. I heard that Caleb freaking killed a kid, and she, like, held a dude under lava last game. A lot of them are little savages. But I'll kind of turn this back on Matt now. You know, I was very critical of the players for trying to change the outcome after they rolled. To be critical of Matt here, you should give them the opportunity. It should be like right until they roll, they can potentially change their mind. I don't know. That's at least how I would play it. It's kind of like, I feel like it's like chess. Like you can state your options, and then if Matt is like, oh, roll investigation, and you decide you don't want to, it's like, never mind, I'm not investigating. Because you haven't rolled. Like the randomness has not consolidated into a result, right? So that's, yeah, I think it goes both sides. Players should not change the action after a roll, but DMs should call for a roll, even if it's maybe worthless, and give players a chance to change their mind.
Shake her across the ground.
She's going renegade, folks. She's going renegade.
I just wanted to make sure he didn't come after us.
Grog looks impressed, but also slightly worried as the men who grew up alongside you. All right, so that happened.
When she says, "Okay, I'm going to dismember the body." Hold on.
Because I'm invisible in the thing with Lady Kima, I kind of get up on a stool to see if I can catch some cleavage. Just kind of like, just peek over, peek in.
The leather armor that she wore is a full person covering leather armor piece. I apologize.
I give up.
Sorry.
Stop it, Sam. Once is an offhand joke. I do not like this as a character trait for Scanlan. I know he's like a young boy, but creepy. Although I know we talked about it last time. John was talking about how Scanlan sort of strays away from that character trait later, and I will be happy for it.
Scanlan. She is.
Sorry,
Oh, fuck me, dude.
Which, by the way,
I do not like that foreshadowing, Senior Chewie.
It's not just so much the fact that Pike did it, it's the fact that Pike did it by running a jagged, like, blade-edged mace across someone's throat. It was less of a slice and more of a serration. We'll see.
He's really bad. If they're really bad guys, they're super bad. The Duragar are so bad.
Right,
She'd
Pike,
probably
but
be happy.
man, that was rough.
We'll find out.
He had little Duragar back at home.
So, given this case, now the rest of the party is able to move forward. This hallway now, you can only see about that far down with the current light source. See, Kima is now moving across this
She's
way.
just going?
Go listen. Oh, she's
All
still
right.
going that direction?
All right, I'm
Follow
tiptoe
her.
jogging
Well,
behind
all
Kima.
of us
I'm
go
gonna
behind
follow
her.
her as well.
Follow her as well.
Can we
I don't
do
know,
something to
everyone's
slow her down?
I can stop her if you want.
Well, I mean, we don't want to stop her. I just
No,
want to be like,
she's-
hey,
And
chill,
you know what?
girls.
I bet she's
It's
pretty
like, it's
noisy
Leroy
too.
Jenkins
This
right
is
now.
precisely
We just
why
have to
you
make
She's wearing leather armor. She's not very noisy right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Just carefully place a hand on Kima's shoulder and do a little sort of curtsy motion. Allow me, I can.
Okay, as you do so, she kind of stops and looks back up your shoulder and gives a begrudging nod. But you can see she's actually there's shaking. Her hand holding the greatsword is currently shaking with rage.
I say 2 words, 3 syllables.
All right, so passing down this hallway, it leads down to an open doorway and a closed doorway immediately to your right, and then the room to the doorways to your left, and to the right you see another wall to another room, but you don't have a doorway currently available.
So door on my left, door straight ahead, right?
Correct.
Okay, I inch up to the closed door on the left and place my ear to the door and listen.
This is an interesting dungeon map so far. I will be really interested as, more pieces are taken away. This configuration right here, why is the forge just a block in the middle, with hallways surrounding it? Is that maybe I don't know enough about forges, but that just kind of rings weird, right? Okay, I talk all the time. It's probably one of my most consistent talking points is about map design, dungeon map, battle map, whatever. And I was just saying last time that I on battle map I like loops, because I think that they provide you with interesting options during combat. The thing is, a loop still has to feel natural. And right now, if I'm one of these characters, I'm squinting at that room. I'm like, why is it separated? And this could be my own lack of historical knowledge. I might there might be a literal reason that forges are their own little thing like this, and I'm just not aware of it, but that doesn't strike me as a realistic layout. That seems like a lot of wasted space on hallways. I can see this exact configuration with this room up against that wall over there. And then you still have a loop, right? You still have these two doorways that form a loop right there, but this is a loop within a loop. It's very weird, kind of disorienting.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Yeah. Natural 20.
What?
Yeah. It's gonna be one of those nights.
And I mean, hey, Gail, if things are only weird if you notice, right? The map is as good as the person who thinks it's the worst. If that makes any sense. I'm not at the table. If his players like it, that's cool. Obviously, I am in analysis mode during these streams, so I'm probably picking up on maybe little things here and there that the players wouldn't have. But yeah, kind of a weird little detail.
That one. Oh my god.
Don't jinx
Yes. Don't, knock on wood.
Don't.
I'm gonna kill all you.
That's
No.
This is gonna come back to haunt us.
They hear that in their head. It's Kavarn, it's Kira.
Put your ear to the side, and you hear nothing.
okay. Do I sense any kind of? I'm checking for traps in the door.
Okay. Yeah.
Traps perception, right? 20.
I don't know, Liam. Maybe you shouldn't. You should have fucking asked before you rolled.
6.
Man, the players are hitting a lot of my pet peeves this session for some reason. I am not normally this critical out the gate. Critical roll. I am. Yeah, I don't. I don't know what's going on here, but they are really pushing my buttons today. Off the top of my head, I'd be more inclined to want the chimneys to back up to other rooms so that they could use the spillover heat on that or higher floors. Yeah, totally. Right? I'm thinking about where all the fireplaces are in everywhere I've ever lived that had a fireplace, and it's always against another room. There's never just a hallway behind it. That would just be, I don't know. It'd be odd unless it's a big open room and maybe there's a furnace kind of apparatus in the center, but it being its own little squared off room is just weird.
So the door itself does not appear to be trapped. It does appear to be locked, though.
All right. Well, I pull out my picks. And I get a 3 on that, so...
That's okay. It's a really, really, really crappy lock.
Oh.
It actually, you notice the door itself, it has a locking mechanism on it. It was kind of half-locked, and as you push, it opens up into
Shove a hot dog.
a commode.
Yes!
Is there anybody?
There's nobody in there. It is a room with what looks almost like a bench.
Bro, I was just talking about this. How if you have a large structure like this that could theoretically have a commode, put it in there. Players love that shit.
With a series of holes cut into the bench. It's a communal.
I'm tempted to close the door for a moment, but I will press on instead.
Check for loot.
All right, so I'm going to inch towards that open.
Oh, also players love that shit. Ba-doom. Didn't even mean it.
Door ahead of me.
I'm
I'll
gonna
see what's
follow-
around the corner.
I'm gonna inch up behind him as well.
Okay.
I'm still invisible, right? How long does that last?
Staying back. It's concentration for quite some time.
Just
Actually,
really quickly. Oh, do you want to go first?
no, you go.
Does anyone want to hide these bodies that we've just scattered about?
Yeah, that would be good.
Why?
Inside the loo.
It's a perfect
Maybe we
place
can
for them to
hide
be
it.
interred.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's
Welcome, Pike.
Again, like, I wouldn't just add a bathroom, a commode, just because players like it. They do. It never fails to like get a smile and a giggle. But it is a legitimately like useful thing. I mean, obviously it's useful like in fiction, in world. It's a bathroom. But like beyond that, as a part of a battle map, a little tiny enclosed room that people are unlikely to check or look into is like a really nice thing to add to a battle map. It's a really nice little over thing. Offshoot. That's what I was looking for. Interred. Oh, nice. Nice, Agil.
Not moving.
Eviscerate the bodies.
I'll walk over in tiger form, and I just grab one by the scruff and start.
Who else is
Okay.
strong? Grog.
Dragging
Grog
it.
does the other one.
Grog helps out. You guys move the two bodies slowly over into the restroom.
We
area.
kind of prop them up to kind of like
Look like
weaken
they're-
and Bernie's them. Yeah, make them just look like they're
Having
you know,
a
passed out.
rendezvous in
They're
the
Friendly.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
friendly.
So they're both gently laying back, like they just got really drunk and barely found their way to the
And
toilet.
throat slit.
Yeah. Throat slit, lots of blood everywhere.
This is
Sloppy.
rough
We
blockage.
take that one and kind of like lean them forward.
Okay.
Into the
Hell
commode.
immediately.
All right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
not a worry. You guys bring that commode area there.
Good.
All right.
Well done there.
Yes, thank you.
That Grog is over here as well to help. Now, looking down this hallway here, you can see
God, how many minis is this? There are the 8-player minis. There's Clarota. There's Kima. There is Trinket. They have 11 people in the party. Holy fuck. That is exhausting to think about.
Who we got?
this side.
All I want to do is find the damn treasure room.
I want to
Looking into
remove
this
all
room,
the
looking
black
at
pieces.
across,
Yeah.
it appears to be a
Barry.
barracks, a room that is just filled with different beds, all apparently empty.
Can
Oh, they're up and looking for us.
Apparently empty.
From what
Do
you
I?
can see.
Do I?
Can I use my keen smell to see if I smell any Duragard in there?
Sure. So you slowly approach
Oh boy.
the door using your keen senses, which opens up this hallway a little bit visibly to you. You can see it goes back quite a bit. Sniffing this room, you can tell that there were Duragard there recently.
I will say this is, I think it in person has a lot of advantages to online. Like, I really think, like, no question. But this is one thing where, like, being online, Fog of War is so much easier. It is just so much, no matter really what software you're using, I have not found a VTT that, like, did Fog of War bad. There are some that do it better than others, but they all are better than, like, ruffling with construction paper. That's one thing that's just tough about in-person playing when you want nice Fog of War.
Apparently at the moment, though.
But I also don't know a better way that I would do it. Like, this is about how I would go. Or I would have another option is if you're, drawing like with a whiteboard on gridded whiteboard paper, which is what I mostly do. Although I'm also a fan of gridless, so take that for what it's worth. I'll have the dungeon map behind my screen, and then I will just actively draw it. There's pros and cons. Pros of drawing it out in real time is that you don't accidentally reveal anything. You, like, show them exactly what they need to see, and there's no confusion about, like, where doors are, what they can see, what they can't. On the other hand, it takes way longer. Like just being able to reveal things with construction paper is much faster and much better at keeping up the pace of the session. So, bit of this, bit of that. I don't know. It's probably depends on your preference, but I know either way online is I've traditionally found better. I think the best of both worlds is having a nice little under like a nice little like under TV. Have you ever seen those game tables that have like the built-in TV to the bottom that you then do shit on? That's so cool. I put maps on my big TV using my Xbox and control the map and minis on my computer. Totally. I think that's great. Yeah. Like, especially for really small stuff, or like for really like intricate battle maps. And if you do like most of the rest theater to the mind, kind of Critical Role mat style, I think Undead King's solution is fantastic. I think that's a really good idea. Or a really good
There
way
is
to
no
do it.
immediate scent that matches a Duragar, so the room for the most part has been completely evacuated.
Okay, I kind of, even though I'm not a dog, I'm a cat. I still kind of point, I go into pointer phase.
Okay.
You know,
Pointer phase?
You know, like
Sure, yeah.
You know, like pointer.
Yeah, angling your
keep doing
nose
that.
forward. Right.
I think Keyleth has to pee. I never had a cat.
All right, I'm gonna start sliding down that hall there, ignoring this other passage, and get up to the door, and again place my ear to it.
Okay,
There's
this.
the front entrance.
Yeah.
As you
they're
look to your
gonna be
right,
around
this is a large foyer type area with 2 red carpets that are rolled on the sides of it that lead to the front of the main double-sided, large 10-foot tall stone doors of the front of the fortress. To your left, there is a double wooden door, about 8 feet tall each side, about 5 feet wide, that are currently closed, leading into whatever this large chamber is immediately to your left.
Can I hang a right and go down that other hall?
We should check out what's in that other
Is
hall.
there a door over there?
There are 2 doors, actually.
Closed?
Both closed. Yes.
I'm going to listen into those doors.
Make a perception check.
Natural 17. Yes!
Got me so excited, you son of a bitch.
Love that nat 17.
There you go.
Listening in, you don't hear any noise.
That could mean
Are
nothing.
you at the double doors with me?
I'm to the right. I went the other way. Looking at that black.
I'm gonna listen at the big wooden doors, and I rolled. Oh, not that great. 17.
All right, listening in.
I scooch up ahead of Grog and I'm like, excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Creeping for 2 more hours.
As you listen back, there is no noise internally, except for the slight squeak. As you put yourself against the door, it shifts a little bit, making no noticeable noise, but it appears the doors are unlocked, or there is no lock. You're not from the inside of that one door you're at.
Wait, I just heard a noise?
No, you hear no noise coming from that room.
Can I... Stinking Cloud, can I go through doors, or do I have to see where
You
I'm
have to have
casting
sight.
it?
Unfortunately.
Okay. I just want to point out. So this is something that I think about a lot when considering fortifications, how big battle maps should be, etc., etc. This is the Ember Hold. This is supposed to be like the main fortification of the Derugar civilization, we assume, in the Underdark. This is ostensibly where like their seat of power is, right? And if we are seeing the entire length and width of the fortification, even if it's super tall, not the fortification, sorry, the keep, even if it's super tall, this place is fucking tiny. and I would like really take that into consideration. Like take into consideration that like most, like, you know, not all like when we think of castles, the biggest and most impressive ones are like the main ones we know of. There are a lot of really small castles that were more like fucking mansions to us now. But this is not supposed to be that. This is supposed to be like the seat of power for the Derugar. And this looks to be what? That's like 10 feet, 20, 30, 40, 50. Like, I can't tell how far this paper goes, but it can't be more than 100, 150 feet if I'm being mega generous. Doesn't really matter how tall it is. Like, keep in mind, like, walls on medieval fortifications are like 20 feet thick. So, unless you're building these giant walls to surround what is like a suburban house in America. I don't know, man. And maybe I'm underselling it, but this feels really small to me. It's just something to keep in mind when you're thinking about themes. And to be fair, players shouldn't probably be assaulting castles all that often. So it might be hard to actually get a situation where you need that kind of massive map. But making like big empty areas can not only be interesting for combat, but I think like fairly feel fairly good in the fiction. Like this entryway that he's showing.
Get up to the door.
To your right.
This entryway to, again, Derugar's Seat of Power is 20 feet wide. Seems like a grand entry hall should be at least twice as big and probably twice or 3 times as long. Right? Like think about like Game of Thrones, like the Iron Throne, like picture that big entryway with all the pillars and everything. Like this should be giant. And it would be one thing if it had been narrated how the Derugar, build pretty modestly, but he's already narrated how the city is filled to the brim with these like spike fortifications rising out of the ground for all of their guards to fit inside of. Like, the Derugar do not build modestly. Yet I would have never thought about it in the moment as a player. And that's fair. That's very true. And this is why, last session I mentioned that I consider myself more of a world builder first and a DM second. I'm very much like create the world, drop the players in, see what happens. And in terms of like making a comprehensible, compact experience, smaller is better. But I feel like if you're going to tell that sort of story where you want these smaller buildings, you have to reel back your desires as a DM to like make it like the king and queen, right? Because I'm pretty sure that that's who's here. It's like King Murgadol or whatever. That's not what... Shut up, Sam. That can't be your first chat. You are like Sam Riegel. Damn it. Yeah, but you hey, maybe she did. I don't judge. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, if he had just replaced this entire narrative by saying like, no idea where the king and queen of the Derugar are. This Ember hold is held by a duke. Like, this is like the duke's seat of power. He's like the front lines for the war. He's working with the mind flayers. And this is like the seat of his duchy. Suddenly, this feels sick as hell. Like, or not sick as hell. It's already very cool, but it feels much more, I'm going to use a $5 word because I can't think of another one. Verisimilitudinous. Whoa. Verisimilitude is how well something feels within the fiction of a story that you're telling. So if it feels like, the player would never, or the character would never say that, that is a lack of verisimilitude. That sentence was not very verisimilitudinous. Which I would say that this keep, while cool, and is probably going to lead to a fun battle map, dungeon crawl, etc., is not very verisimilitudinous.
A large...
You learn words every time you watch me.
foyer type area with 2 red carpets that are rolled on the sides of it that lead to the front of the main double-sided, large 10-foot tall stone doors of the front of the fortress. To your left, there is a double wooden door, about 8 feet tall each side, about 5 feet wide. They're currently closed, leading into whatever this large chamber is immediately to your left.
Can I hang a right?
See, because I'm sure this large chamber's throne room, what a weak-ass throne room, dude. Y'all are some bitch-ass kings to be sitting in that sort of throne room.
Go down that other hall.
We should check out what's in that other hall.
Is there a door over there?
There are 2 doors, actually.
Closed?
Both closed.
I'm going to listen into those doors.
Make a perception check.
Is that like off of Merriam-Webster? I think I got pretty close, but yeah, exactly, Akel. Yeah, it has to feel right. If you are taken out of the scene because of something that is described by the DM that just doesn't feel right. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think that that's a great rephrasing of it. Yeah, it is enabling suspension of disbelief. You have to be able to invest. Because, like, we're in a fantasy world. Wacky and silly shit is all over the place. But it has to feel right. There are still wacky and silly things that you just can't have in D&D. It would totally break you out of it. If fucking the Lucky the Leprechaun off of and like Bugs Bunny start walking through and you're now fighting them, that would not feel right in this campaign. Now there might be a campaign where you're fighting, branded monsters from across corporate America, and that would feel perfect. Like the characters would be all in, the players would be very invested, but it wouldn't work here. And that's how I feel about this battle map, given what we've been told thus far. Now, I could be wrong. We could learn new information that makes this all click into place, but right now,
Natural 17.
It's still an interesting map, though. So,
Yes!
Gotta love that Nat 17.
Listening in, you don't hear any noise.
That could mean nothing.
Are you at the double doors?
yes, AKL. Yes, that is the problem and like the issue that verisimilitude and like that phrase and thinking about verisimilitude addresses, right? Is like you have to think about like you can be as fun and wacky and silly as you want as long as it all feels on par. If it feels too random, like some amount of randomness is fun. It's interesting. It can provide some drama. That's why we roll dice in TTRPGs. But if it totally feels like it just shouldn't be there, you've taken your players right out of the scene.
I'm to the right. I went the other way. Looking at that black.
I'm going to listen at the big wooden doors. And I rolled, not that great, 17.
All right, listening in.
I scooch up ahead of Grog and I'm like, excuse me.
Creeping for 2 more hours.
As you listen back, there is no noise in turn.
Dude, you can tell that even all of the players miss Grog and Travis. Like, barely anyone mentioned Scanlan when he was gone. And that's, like, not necessarily a knock on Sam or Scanman, but Grog is just such a gem that, like, they can't help but, like, talk about him and include him. I don't think they're, like, trying to make Matt do work. They're just, like, it feels weird not to have Grog and not to mention him. Because Travis is a national
as you put yourself against the door, it shifts a little bit, making no noticeable noise, but it appears the doors are unlocked. Or there is no lock. You're not from the inside of that one door you're at.
Wait, I just heard a noise?
No, you hear no noise coming from that room.
Can I... Stinking Cloud, can I go through doors, or do I have to see where
You
I'm
have to have
casting?
sight, unfortunately. I mean, you can, like, peek very low and...
I'm going to open the door and look.
Okay.
Because why not?
You open the door.
Yeah, push buttons.
It appears to be some sort of a guest bedroom. It's a singular bed. It's much better condition than the barracks. It's empty. It's well made. It's more lit than the other rooms. It seems to be a room designed for either non-Duragar riffraff or general soldiers or guests or people that would come to the fortress to stay. So,
okay.
I'm going to try to peer into the door, and I haven't talked about this before, but I'm wearing a Cloak of Elvenkind, which means I have advantage on stealth, and enemies have disadvantage on spotting me, so I'm going to lean my head in.
Man, that would have been useful to bring up to this point, Liam. What the heck? What? You've been stealthing all over the place. You've never mentioned this before? That would be incredibly impactful.
Right. Do I need to roll for stealth, or am I already stealth?
For this, you're already stealth. I'm using the symbol. So as you glance inside the room, you see what appears to be a great hall of some kind. There are large...
Okay. Not a bitch-ass throne room. This is still a little bit small for a great hall. This feels more like a meal room for a barracks. In fact, this entire place kind of feels like a barracks, if we're being real, except for the, the red carpets on the front, but you could have fooled me with the rest of it. I mean, I know that the bed sleeping arrangement is over there, but, we'll see. Wait, is that another circle? Are all of these rooms disconnected from each other? What's happening? Am I going insane? Why? Am I totally unaware of how medieval castles were laid out? I don't feel like I am. I feel like this is like, this is just like not it. I don't, I mean, look, it's all like, it's all subjective, right? Because if we're in a cave complex and you show me this, or like, like a hive, like a spider, cave hive complex, this design kind of fucking slaps. Like all of their little isolated broods that you can like go inside of, but they're all kind of separated from each other. Like, I'm down with that. It's just like odd for a keep.
Wooden tables. There is a fire pit in the center that has a number of mostly burned wood that is mainly just small darkened embers with a little bit of glowing yellow and red to it.
Sam?
There are stools scattered about the room. You can see there are remnants of some of a meal that hasn't been fully cleaned up yet on some of the tables, but the room appears to
also got to make the obligatory, what does it smell like, Matt? Because you haven't told me.
be empty. You do see a slight glimmer across the way in one of the tables.
Oh, I'm gonna go check it out.
Shiny disease.
All right. What else were you doing?
I'm looking. Can I look around the guest bedroom? Just kind of snoop around under things.
Sure.
Can I ask him? I'm asking you what you see in there. What do you see in there?
I don't know yet. Hold on.
Is it sparkly?
I'm gonna try to sense for traps in this room.
Okay.
AKL, that is a good explanation. That the from at least my understanding of the Ember Hold is that it is a completely freestanding structure, and I do not believe that it is like made like from what I remember, especially the outer walls were like smooth. I believe that Matt narrated like they wouldn't even be like climbable because they were like almost like glass smooth. But I could be wrong on that. And I know that there was some complication with like the lava flowing over them, like melting it and then re-hardening it. So I don't know. Yeah, rooms are rock. I mean, walls were maybe. Yeah, it's a little bit of fan wanking. And that is a good point, is like the players clearly don't have a problem with it. Or maybe they do and they're just not bringing it up because it's they're actors on a TV show essentially, so it would not be in their best interest to bring up if they thought Matt's design was bad. But it like AKL said, like if people don't notice, that's totally fine. And I am sure that if Matt had someone like me in his party that would notice, that he would probably go through more lengths to explain it. He might have an explanation in his brain that it isn't necessary for him to give. That's super possible. So I don't know. Unga Bunga Dwarf Dig Tunnel. Good. They build more tunnel than chamber. You fucking.
I'm gonna snoop in the barracks.
I mean, that's not what's that's the best explanation that you and AKL combined have come up with, is they just dug more. I am making a note about tension between maps that make more sense in world versus layouts that facilitate maximally fun exploration and combat. That is a great. That I might make that note. I didn't even realize I said that, but I mean, you're totally right. That is a very good summation of my point, and sort of comes back to what I said. Someone asked me last episode about how I go about building locations and maps for those locations. If I build them like separately from the surrounding the rest of the surrounding location. And I said that for something like the Ember Hold, unless I always knew that the Ember Hold was going to be here, I might have just built a generic castle or a generic fortification. And then when they chose to go into the Underdark, I'm like, oh, I have that castle map I could use, and just like plopped it into the Derugar city. So I build like 80 to 90% of it, and then I put it in my, in my back folder. And then when I need a castle later, I do that extra 20 to 10% to make it fit within the scene, within the world. Like I was talking about, like, this castle could have been anywhere, and then you plop some lava on it, and suddenly it's the Ember Hold. Like, and you just make like a bunch of modifications because of that lava, and you've seamlessly integrated it into the surrounding landscape. But you have to consider, like, what am I using this fortification for? Like, this fortification could have been interesting as, like, a hill fort, or, like, a forward, or like, an outpost of some military. Like, that could have been a very interesting use for this layout. So you really have to think about the classification that you're giving these kind of prefabs before you actually choose one for any given setting. I suspect that many, if not most players, would tend to value the latter aspect more, especially since some popular fantasy location tropes never made that much sense to start with. That's fair. It definitely depends on the players. I would try to maximize both. I think that makes the best overall experience, because even if the players don't consciously realize it, it is another layer between them and truly investing in the scene. So even if they're not consciously aware that they're investing less, I would wager, I would posit that they are just naturally investing less, and that's giving you less leeway as a DM if you don't, do both. However, if we do have to pick one that is a good layout that is maximally engaging versus one that, like, makes sense in the fiction, I think you should choose the former. Like, I think you should probably choose one that is, like, a good and engaging battle map, which is basically, like, if we think about episode 5, I had a lot of shit to talk on the ooze fight. And the ooze fight, like, the place that they were, the battle map, like, made sense in fiction. Like, no part of the battle map didn't feel like it could exist in this place as it's been described, but it was lame as hell. It was a super boring battle map, and I would say that I had a way worse time watching that fight than I have been watching this dungeon crawl. So I agree with your statement, AKL, that if you have to choose one, choose a good layout. But I would try to do both.
14.
I'm gonna make my way around all this riffraff. Yes.
Push your way through.
Excuse me, pardon me, pushing through everybody.
I'm going to go past where Vax is, in the room down that hallway, and then I'm going to do my mage hand thingy again.
What the?
My prestidigitation.
Oh.
Down this hallway?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And slowly, 5 feet by 5 feet.
All right. You see, slowly as you move down this hallway to check it out, a secondary set of barracks that are also apparently empty.
Where is everybody?
Where are they?
They're all invisible.
And also, why are the barracks right next to a grand entrance with, like, red carpets? That's right next to the barracks. Those soldiers are dirty. They are going to be tromping all over your red, nice, plush carpets. Like, again, it's just... but now I feel like I'm just nitpicking, because I feel like I've fairly established, like, what I think is wrong with it. So I'll stop hammering home that point unless there is something really that is new and novel.
You see a
But
secondary
yeah, those soldiers are getting that carpet dirty.
commode that is open. And as you glance around the corner, as the light passes by, you see there are 2 Duragar currently coming down the hallway this direction.
Oh shit! I stop it! And I creep back.
Okay. As you creep back, you hear footsteps coming your way quickly.
I'm going to the door, then I can hear that.
Stop! You violated the law!
Yeah, I'll crest to
Inside
the door as
inside
well.
the door.
Oh, inside the door there?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, this map is dead. I'll stop, John. But I want
Stay
to.
actually right.
I love being pedantic and just piling on the criticism, but it is dead. I'll stop beating that horse.
Right there, just right at the threshold.
Okay, the rest of you guys?
I mean, I'm so far away. I can try to get up there, but...
You can glance. There's still a hallway around that way. If you want
Okay, I'll go around the back way then.
Okay, so you move around.
With Trinket!
Trinket follows up behind.
Get Nancy, I gotta stand
Make
up.
your way up there. Scanlan, you staying in that room?
I'm taking a dump on the guest bed.
Oh, yeah.
bed.
They don't see me, right?
I like walk by the door and see that
I'm
happening.
gonna get you in just a second. Okay.
Roll Constitution to summon a shit. Look, you never have a good Constitution check. I'll do that. Not my favorite skit. Oh, the uh-ohs, I remember the bed. Dude, that's crazy. Look. Scanlan taking a shit on a random person's bed. I don't know why. For some reason, that is like dumb silly, and at least it's not creepy. Yeah. This is why I said I was really conflicted. When Sam was gone for episode 4, I was like, maybe this is for the best. And then he was gone, and I was like, oh, I kind of miss Scanlan. And then he came back, and I was like, did I? Did I miss Scanlan? I don't know. Everyone loves poop jokes. Poop jokes! Ooh. I have complicated feelings on poop jokes. It has to be... I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I laugh at them less than most people, but more than people that hate them. I'm in a gray area. Like that one I thought was like, silly funny. Whatever. But I don't know.
But also just covering it up with the blanket after.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're in mid-process. This is all happening pretty quickly.
I'll go around.
I think that might be the thing. Is I like gross more than creepy. I think that's probably my fundamental disconnect on that. I like Scanlan's flaw to be he's gross rather than he's creepy. I find it way easier to like that kind of character.
Back behind where Trinket and
Okay, because your little leg, you get about that far.
I'm invisible. It's
Okay.
poop.
Ting, another side scaring you. Then you go into the corner. Clarota,
Apparating
still
the
invisible from behind. Grog is eager to.
I'm staying in the hallway. I don't want to be.
I hate this
Okay.
mission.
So, Tiberius, as you're backing up.
I mean, it kind of depends on the episode, I would say. Like, last episode, there was a little bit of like Scanlan's, like, not necessarily being like creepy, but just like being weird and like kind of like not taking no for an answer. And he's like trying to look up chicks' like cleavage. And John mentioned it last time that Sam reels back that behavior as it goes on, which I'm glad. I find it way easier to yeah, he has his creepy moments mostly early on. Yeah, which is like, I don't know. Flaws in character building are complicated, right? Like, it is not only okay to have a flawed character, it is good to have a flawed character. Like, your PC needs flaws. However, and this is, I think I'll make this general statement for pretty much any flaw, it needs to be a flaw that the other players do not feel uncomfortable as a player engaging with you on. So, like, if you have a flaw that you're fucking gross consistently, the players need to feel comfortable enough with that they are willing to, as their players, or as their characters, engage your character on it. Same thing, like, if your character is creepy, like, that's not an inherently, like, barrier, unless someone has said that's a barrier in session 0. That's not like an inherent barrier, but the other characters need to engage them on that. Otherwise, it like feels weird. And we talk about investment. If there are characters constantly doing weird and flawed shit that no one else talks about, that because they're just, throwaway silly jokes, that removes people from the scene. Because suddenly like, oh, we're not supposed to take that seriously. That's not seriously Scanlan's character. That's Sam fucking around. And that's like a fine, Sam fucking around joke, right? Like, if you are just fucking around and want to make throwaway jokes and everyone at the table is cool, that's fine. But if it's a consistent flaw, it needs to be interacted with in the drama and in the narrative. When I binged C1, Scanlan's seemingly unrequited flirting on Pike bugged me, and I asked on the CR subreddit, people told me I was overreacting, but I don't think I was. Unwanted creepy is wrong. With a normal home game, everyone in the room needs to feel comfortable. For an AP, there's the added dimension of the audience, not to mention the crew. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, player and DM comfort is paramount. And like unrequited flirting, if Ashley Johnson and Sam Riegel, if they are like fucking around and like this is a joke between them and it is legitimately that way, which we can never know because we don't know the behind the scenes vibes, that's fine. It's taking people out of the moment. It's taking them out of the story, but it's okay. It just shouldn't be like a consistent flaw within Scanlan's character. It should be like a couple of one-off jokes. If you keep doing it, it becomes a flaw, and you need to address it in fiction. So some viewers might weight the player's stated apparent feelings about it more or less compared to their own feelings. Both are valid IMO, just different perspectives. Yeah. I mean, I think it gets really hard. Like, right now I've been trying to talk about it from the perspective of like, if it's you and I at the table, like take away Sam Riegel and Ashley Johnson and Matt Mercer. If it's Jack and AKL and John Forsyth sitting at the table and AKL and John Forsyth are, if AKL is unrequited flirting with John and like that's kind of the vein I'm trying to talk about it because I think that's, the most useful for you guys. But AKL, you're totally right that the dimension of it being a show adds a whole other layer to it, a layer of like responsibility that I don't know if I necessarily have the expertise to talk about. I'm not an actor. I'm not a director. I'm not, working on these sets and things like that. But I certainly agree that there is an added layer of responsibility. Senor Chewy, true, my Gru just tends to avoid it. It's always weird for us, always an awkward silence moment. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of my games are similar. We do a lot of like fade to black type stuff. If people ever like romantic things are not off the table, but they are almost always a fade to black. And every time, like we talk about it always during session 0, we're always like, hey, how do we feel about romance type stuff in this campaign? And it's almost always we all agree that it's a fade to black if it happens at all, which kind of like you, Senior Chewy, we generally just don't go into. The takeaway for home tables is in any case to err on the side of safety and comfort for those present. Never an excuse that they did that on CR, just in case that needs to be said. Dude, there's never the excuse of they did that on CR, which I know is like, I mean, that's essentially they did that on CR is essentially what I understand the Matthew Mercer effect to be, where people watch CR and then they bring that to their table and they expect their table to do it the way that CR did it, which is never an acceptable mindset. You need to like agree on everything at your table, and everything should be tailor-made and agreed upon for your table. As long as Ashley and Sam are both in on the joke and they're both cool with it, it's fine. But adding the streaming audience definitely muddles it. Yeah. That's a very good summary. And as an audience, we can never truly know how they are with it, right? So that's why we don't have to be like burn Sam Riegel at the stake. But like if it came out later of like Ashley was like, oh yeah, that wasn't very cool, like I didn't like that, then we should not defend Sam in that case, But if it gets brought up and she's like, no, that was a joke, then it's like, oh, it's all good. Like, we can never know what the vibes are, so we just kind of have to believe when they say what it is. I would hope that people don't do that. It worked for CR, or even it looks fun on CR, so I want to do that too, but I'm also completely sure that some do. I think it's probably a more vocal minority than people give it credit for, but as an outsider, as like a non-critter, I heard like I had like two separate opinions that were like warring in my head. I knew that CR was like one of the best made actual plays to ever exist, and it totally revolutionized like the actual play genre. And then I had this separate thing of it created a like group of people that have an unhealthy level of like respect and like veneration for the way that CR does it. And in fact, I actually just ran into it on Reddit the other day where someone was talking about how they didn't like how their friends played. And they said, maybe it's my bias here. I came into D&D through Critical Role, you know, the peak of Dungeons and Dragons. I guess it was my mistake for expecting that much of them. And I was like, oh no. I was like, you know, it's really good. That's a really great DM. The players are good role players, but calling it like, and it's a very fun and entertaining show. I'm having a lot of fun watching it, and I know it only gets better. But like holding your friends up to that standard is bad. Like, you can show them something, and you can be like, oh, look at this on CR. I think this is cool. Do you like this? Maybe we could do that. Like, coming to them as an exchange of ideas and as an offer, that's totally fine. That's dope. Like, media should inspire you to do things yourself. But it should not be, they did it, so we need to do it. It should not be a demand. You know? So yeah, it's actually kind of surprising that this is really the first time we've talked about that, because that is like kind of equal parts what I've experienced. But I know that like most of the people in my chat are critters, and y'all are dope. So I have the distinct feeling that most of that is vocal minorities. Good grief. I also came to D&D through CR, but would never say something like that. It took me 3 weeks of being a dedicated CR fan to pick up that it is one way to play the game. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. And it's a good way. Like, it's a totally like valid and dope way. But yeah, it should not be held up. It's like watching NBA All-Star Game and expecting your neighborhood pick up game that has to be at that level. I mean, I would almost take the analogy one step further. It's like watching the Harlem Globetrotters. Like the Harlem or like WWE, right? Like a WWE wrestler is an incredible physical specimen. I know that there's the whole thing of like wrestling is faked. Honestly, if you watch some of the stunts, it's almost more impressive that they're faking it. You know? And it's the same thing with like the Harlem Globetrotters. They do insane stunts and they do insane things, but also they're not playing basketball. Like, they're playing some like weird not bastardized, but they're playing like a very creative, innovative entertainment version of basketball. Just like how WWE wrestlers, are not wrestling really. They're not fighting. They are putting on an entertainment product. You should not watch WWE and take that to your local fight club. You'll get decimated. And I think that that's kind of what I would take out of CR is it's a very impressive entertainment product that you can learn a ton from, but it's almost not even the same game that you would play at home. Like, it has a lot of similar aspects and traits, but it's kind of fundamentally different. I was thinking about using the Globetrotters. My analogy, I should have gone with that. John, we were parallel thinking. I believe you. Yeah. Because it's yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I'm sure that I will continue to form my opinion on that, but I'm sort of I'd already formed that opinion about Dimension 20. Like same thing. It's an impeccable entertainment product. But like one of my first TikToks to ever get more than 1,000 views was me actually roasting Nico, who has come in and hung out. We've done a lot together since. I really like him. But he was talking about all of these things you can learn from Brennan Lee Mulligan as a DM. And I basically made a TikTok that was like, yeah, but like, don't hold yourself up to X, Y, and Z standards because like a Dimension 20 game is different from an at-home game. Excuse me. But yeah, I will end the rant there. I'll cap it off because this one has taken some twists and turns during, and we will get back to the game.
Both the Durgar turn around, immediately seeing you.
BLM works so much magic that it looks organic. Oh my god. I think that Brennan Lee Mulligan and Matt, I think honestly, because I've criticized Matt a lot during my watch through so far. The one thing I will never criticize him for, that I know he is so far above me in, is his dramatic narrative improv and the timing of that improv. Like he is just the most. He just presents information in a way that I could never hope to. He is like concise but thorough, and he brings you into his narration and his monologues and his character acting in a way that is just so impressive. And I think Brennan Lee Mulligan has the same trait, and I think that is why. This is my big fucking take of the day. Dimension 20 and Critical Role have great players, and like Matt and Brennan are decent at most parts of DMing, but they are like the pinnacle, like 1% of the 1% when it comes to just delivering the story in an entertaining way. Just knock it out of the park, amazing at it. Yeah. My favorite analogy might be that CR are like a garage band that made it big. Of course, their style has changed over the years, and of course, most amateur singer-musicians won't sound like that. It's a fair comparison, yeah, but also they can still be friends IRL and genuinely enjoy playing together, as a band analogy or the actual game, as well as being a successful business. I like that. I like this train of thought, AKL, because there are, I know that there's a big rift. I used to play guitar, I'm not as into it anymore, but I used to watch a lot of like professional guitarist interviews and such. And there was a professional guitar player that was breaking down the difference between an improv soloist and a pre-written soloist. In like when they're performing guitar solos on stage. There are some bands and some guitar players that are immensely talented, that are so mechanically amazing, and they pre-write all of their solos, and they get the solo picture perfect, note perfect. It's a masterpiece of a solo. And then there are guitar players that riff the solo every time. Like, obviously, it's in the same song, so it always sounds, within the same realm of similar, but they improv it every single time, and it always sounds like a little bit different, but it never sounds quite as good as the pre-written solo. And so someone asked him, basically, there was an improv soloist that was doing this interview talking about his legacy, and the interviewer asked them if he considered himself more mechanically skilled than like a pre-written soloist. And he was like, no, it's just different. He's like, we're both guitarists. We're both great guitarists. We just do it different. So I think that, and they can learn things from each other. So I think that like, I like the WWE analogy. I like the garage band analogy. I think that those are good ways to think about the difference.
And rear back with javelins.
Oh.
Throwing them directly at you.
I'll cast Blur instead.
Okay, go ahead and roll initiative. Roll fast to see who gets off first. What?
I'm not gonna count that. Oh, I'll count that. 19.
Why didn't you?
What? Huh? Wait, I'm also confused with Matt. Like, what just happened?
Count it.
Because it flew out of my hand. I didn't roll it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Huh? Then hold on to your fucking dice, bro. What are you talking about? It flew out of your hand. I don't give a shit how it left your hand. It could have taken the fucking space shuttle out of your hand. Whatever it landed on is what you got. The only take backsies are if it goes off the table. Everyone knows that. That was crazy. I know all y'all are holding your tongue. I know all y'all are clenching your jaws, curling your fingers, wanting to tippy type in chat. That was crazy.
All right, so.
Wait, also, was he also doing the thing that I got mad at him for earlier? They rear back with javelins, throwing them directly at you. Is Blur a reaction? Blur might be a reaction. I was about to... Mega doesn't trust virtual dice. Don't trust people. Hey, man, look. Okay, the dirty truth of that one is I actually mostly use digital dice. I just thought it was a funny short. That's the real dirty truth of that one, is I do not stand by my words in that short. Because I also trust virtual dice way more than that shit.
What didn't...
Wait, I gotta look up and Blur's
Because it flew out of my hand. I didn't roll it.
Okay.
Casting time 1 action? Brother! What? I'm stunned. I'm stunned that they threw javelins at him. And he's like, never mind, I'm casting Blur? I'm flabbergasted. I don't even know what to say. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so.
Wait, what did Matt even ask him to roll? I'm so confused. What's going on? I'm all concocted. I actively pacing. Dude, I'm so glad I'm standing up right now. This is crazy.
Clarota,
Apparating.
still invisible
What is-
behind.
okay.
Grog is eager to...
Oh, we're still talking about the poo. I forgot where we were.
Staying in the hallway. I don't
Scanlan's
want
like,
to
I
be
hate this
Okay.
mission.
So, Tiberius, as you're backing up, both the Durgar turn around,
Right.
immediately seeing you,
Yeah.
and rear back with javelins.
Oh.
I mean,
Right
okay.
at you.
All right. I'm going to give Orion the absolute most charitable reading of this sequence. Charitable fact number 1, Matt should have had them roll initiative. They don't just get to, like, decide that they're throwing it. Orion should have had a chance to beat them on the dex roll. He's clearly not surprised. So if he had beaten them on the initiative roll, he would have been able to cast Blur. Though. And, like, it's also a question, if Matt is asking him to roll a saving throw, then Matt is treating these not as enemies, but he's treating them as a trap, which I fully support. Like, so if we're reading them as enemies, there needs to be initiative right now. Otherwise, everything's kind of out the window. If you're treating them as a trap, Orion needs to roll a saving throw immediately, and he cannot do shit. What does Matt ask him to roll?
I'll cast Blur instead.
Okay, go ahead and roll initiative. Roll fast to see who...
Oh! Okay, Matt is... Okay, I'm really glad I'm replaying it so that I understand exactly what's going on. That's fantastic. This is exactly what I was saying earlier when I was talking about, like, how we should have been rolling initiative, is the enemies declare their intention to attack. They are throwing the javelins, then everyone rolls initiative, then we see where we are, we determine surprise. Spot on, Matt. I'm very glad I'm rewatching because Matt's doing everything perfectly.
Who gets off first? What?
I'm not gonna count that. Oh, I'll count that. 19.
Why didn't you count it?
Because it flew out of my hand. I didn't roll it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so...
On camera. Playback.
So you go ahead and cast Blur. You guys see as Tiberius comes running back, going, oh!
Wait, he just said playback. I didn't even see if it like actually flew out.
I'll cast Blur.
Let me see this.
Instead.
Okay, go ahead and roll initiative. Roll fast to see who gets off first. What?
I'm not gonna count that. Instead.
Okay, go ahead and roll initiative real fast to see who gets off first. What?
Okay. Okay. Again, I am trying to be generous right now. It did fly out of his hand. But also, who fucking cares? Hold on to it better. I'm going insane. That's crazy. And I'm going to stop trying to be charitable. You cannot look at the result and then decide you're not going to keep it. It's like looking at the result of your stealth and then deciding that you're not moving. Vex. Not Vex in chat if she's watching. Vexalia, Laura Bailey. I'm going crazy. The players have never set me off this much. This is wild.
I'm not gonna count that. Oh, I'll count that. 19.
And then the fucking like, oh, I'll count that. Ah, what's happening? Sam Regal's face, and they're just confused. They're like, what's happening? She's like locking eyes over there. She's like, what?
Why didn't you count it?
Because it flew out of my hand. I didn't roll it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sam, that is the other thing, is like, if you're doing this sort of shit, do not get sassy with the DM about it. You are all equals. This is not me here saying that you gotta be respectful to the, or like more respectful to the DM because they're, delivering the experience. You're all equals at the table. They have an equal amount of right to the story, all that. But you wouldn't get sassy like that with another player, would you? I mean, maybe you would. I don't know.
All right, so
on camera.
So you go ahead and cast Blur. You guys see Tiberius comes running back, going, oh! He manages to cast a spell really fast as two javelins come flying towards him. His visual image begins to actually blur. The outline looks almost like there's two mirrored images of Tiberius in the same place that are both shimmering and preventing them from actually telling where he's actually standing.
And Matt just going into like full DM description of the scene mode to brush past it, reestablish the pace. Great. If you are like, things are getting out of hand, I need to reestablish the pace, describe what's happening in more detail than you need to.
The first javelin. Okay, second javelin. All right. First javelin comes in at a 14.
Nope.
Second one comes in at a 17.
17. Yes.
That is accurate. That's Chewy. That is very accurate. For the first time, I was seeing chat's reaction to that moment. Oh, dude. I didn't even see the chat reaction. Wait. That's a great
All right,
point.
so
on camera. Playback.
So you go ahead and cast Blur. You guys see as Tiberius comes running back, going, oh! He manages to cast a spell really fast as two javelins come flying towards him. His visual image begins to actually blur. The outline looks almost like there's two mirrored images of Tiberius in the same place that are both shimmering and preventing them from actually telling where he's
They're just still talking about this shit.
standing.
Damn it. I guess. Oh, cheat Tiberius. Cheatiberius. Someone wrote Cheatiberius. Oh.
The first javelin.
I'll allow it. Okay.
All right. First javelin comes in at a 14.
Nope.
Matt will let
Second one comes in at a 17.
17. Yes.
Actually, no. Sorry, it's a 4. This is disadvantage. Oh. So both javelins just whoosh, whoosh, whish past. Look like
out of my hand. Good one. Ooh, that's crazy.
They pierce part of that kind of shimmering, blurring form, but both just ricochet off the walls of stone and come clattering to the ground, kind of near back where Kima and Grog are, and they both kind of step out of the way as they land.
Haha.
All right, so that brings. So that was your action. Who else wants to take the next action?
I'm gonna hold.
I can't see anything, can I, from where I am?
It's kind of dark. You can see movement in the distance.
Can I hop on Trinket's back and see if I can see higher?
You can try. All right. So you hop on the back of Trinket, looking over the top, and Grog's kind of blocking part of your view, but you can see with
all new, and you're just sipping tea, dude. I bet. Oh man, is this like, this is not like a Matt Mercer will remember this moment, but this is the live stream chat, Twitch chat will remember this. I'm starting to see.
your light vision, what looks to be Tiberius's form shimmering, and two Duragar height individuals that are partially blocked by him. So they do have partial cover or 3/4 cover. Do you have the feat that ignores that, or?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so.
Because you don't know, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
It would be called sharpshooter.
Yeah, it'd be called sharpshooter as the feat.
Okay. No, I don't have that.
Okay, yeah. So
I'd say that's a very fair ruling. It is not Matt's responsibility to know all of your stuff. He should try to help you as much as he can. The other players should try to help you as much as they can. Good on Taliesin. But, like, if Matt doesn't know off the top of his head, it is not his responsibility to look it up for you. If you don't know something about your character and the DM can't help you, it's not their responsibility to stop the game in order to help you. You just get the worst outcome.
So go ahead and,
Which in
and
this
roll
case
for
is
attack
not
on one or both Duragar, up to you.
So,
But they are, yeah.
21
Okay.
and 23.
Okay. The 21 misses. The 23 hits.
Okay.
Because they have cover and because it's so dark, it's difficult to make out their form, but you do manage to hit one with the arrow. That'd be
Okay.
the
I
one.
hunter's mark him.
Okay.
Okay.
Next time, make sure you do that before you attack. Otherwise,
Okay.
it won't count for the attack.
Okay.
I'm glad that Matt is. That one is a lot more understandable. Of like, I could very much see her having intended to do that, and like, she was just, kind of going through the steps. I'm glad that Matt at least said, "Hey, please do that before the attack next time." Because I mean, obviously, like mechanically, she can do it after the attack because it's a bonus action. But obviously, she would have wanted to do it beforehand.
13. 12.
All right.
Math.
There you go. 12.
Stay in school.
And then add your.
And I am also very okay with, like, if they got something wrong and you as the DM know they got it wrong, like, correct them. I'm okay letting them have it once, especially if it's a hunter's mark damage, like, whatever. But I don't know. D&D's hard, man. I'm not going to get too on her for that.
Your hunter's mark bonus in that as well.
Oh, good one.
All right, gotcha. So one arrow sinks in the shoulder, but it doesn't appear to be stopping his angry advance towards Tiberius.
Okay, this is actually something that caught my ear earlier that I just kept forgetting to look up on my other monitor. The Cloak of Elvenkind does not give you advantage on all of your stealth checks. This is actually something that Vex and Vax both do, where they take, like, the type of check and just say that, like, it applies always. So, like, Vex has advantage on survival checks to track favored enemies. That segment's very important, but she's just, like, taken it and, like, put it in her favored terrain and said that, like, she always gets it, which is not what happens. The other thing is, the Cloak of Elvenkind does not give you advantage on stealth checks carte blanche. It specifically gives you advantage on stealth checks to hide. Now, this actually does get into a bit of a rant, a bit of a problem that I have with 5e, and that I think that Pathfinder addresses really well. I think that 1D&D is starting to address it, which is the keywording in D&D. Keywords should be so much clearer. Like, it should be very obvious when you are saying the word hide, as in the mechanic, like the action to hide, versus just like the generic English word hide, right? And I think that that would really matter on this Cloak of Elvenkind, because the Cloak of Elvenkind, reads like this. Too zoomed. You have advantage on dexterity checks made to hide. My reading of that, my interpretation, is that is the action hiding. Now, let's imagine that 5e had much more robust keywording. Any actions are like capitalized and underlined so that you know what you're looking at. If that were the case, then this would not be, not be a thing. And if that was the case across all of 5e and we came and looked at this and it wasn't capitalized, so we knew it wasn't the keyword, the action, I would actually say that like Vax's Vax's interpretation of the cloak is maybe a bit generous, but not out of the question. But in this case, I am fairly positive it is referring to the specific action, and therefore he should not be able to move while using that advantage stealth. He should only be able to try and take the hide action, which then requires you to be still. Or at least not necessarily still, but it's not part of a movement stealth. So that is one thing I would say. Yeah, something that I noticed earlier. CR Wiki lists Cloak of Elvenkind 2 different instances as an item that gives you advantage on stealth checks. So this may be a consistent CR home ruling. Interesting. I mean, okay. It could be. Totally could be. It is, this is a critique then that I will give to it as a show. Like, as a show, it's the same, because, like, I am assuming that the CR Wiki is based off of what characters say in the show and what Matt allows. And I think it's probably similar to Lady Kima being able to wield heavy weapons, where, like, she just does it, and Matt never narrates her having disadvantage, so now it's lore, now it's enshrined. Whether or not they ever actually talked about it on the back end. Maybe they did talk about it on the back end. But I would say as a critique to the show and like to the stream, they should probably name it something different. Like the Cloak of Elves. But like calling it the Cloak of Elvenkind and then just having it not be that, I'm not a huge fan of. I will also say that that's something that I carry into my home games. If I'm going to take a magic item and change it somehow, I try to change the name. Because I don't want my player to get confused later and like try to look up their own magic item and it's different. That if I ever like homebrew something, I try to even change it to like something really similar, like Cloak of Elvenkind to the Cloak of Elves. You know, something like that. Using the same name is confusing. Vox Machina started the stream with a bunch of very powerful magic items, often not well explained. Yeah, I've noticed that, which is like, it's okay. It's part of it, like, it's part of them starting from the middle of a campaign. I'm sure that obviously like C2 and C3 are way better about that, but it is what it is.
Let's see. You're staying where you are.
Wait.
All right. You guys are actually kind of like pinched off in the hallway right here. So as you guys are all kind of
pinched off to me.
As you're doing this, Tiberius, you're right there. The two Durgar catch up to you, and both, now the javelins out of their hands, pull out their hammers with their bonus actions and come down at you with an attack each.
Run,
That's going to be a 6. Nope. And a 17.
17 hits.
Okay, yeah. That blower is saving you, man. All right, so as the one, both Durgar are kind of like swelling with frustration, anger. It's an ability you've now gotten to the point where these Durgar can actually temporarily increase their form for stronger blows and attacks. Comes and strikes you for 12 points of bludgeoning damage as the hammer comes cracking down, finding purchase on your torso, and it kind of pushes you back a few inches. Ouch. That's gonna bruise tomorrow morning.
Can I do a combo?
That's dope. I'm glad. I mean, I know that like they have so much of their own stuff that they've made and used, and like obviously I fucking love homebrew. Like that's like one of the first like content that I ever made was like putting out homebrew. I'm all about it, especially if you want to take existing items and change it to feel better at your table. But yeah, clarity is important for that, or at least not using copywritten watk stuff. Fair enough. I mean, very fair. I think that there is a very large discussion to be made about, you know, when you are in C3, you've kind of decided that this is going to be probably your primary thing at this point, and basing your livelihood and your career on someone else's IP is very dangerous, which we then saw with the IGL drama. So I think that that's a really good road for them to have gone down in C3. And I also think that them making their own TTRPG, Candelabra Obscura, I think they're actually following through on something that a lot of like really big D&D creators threatened, which was like to go away from D&D. And it seems like, I mean, Critical Role had the sense to actually do it. Probably because they're a business with a lot of people and probably some supporting staff that, like, one of them at one point, or they probably have lawyers. Like, at one point, their lawyer was probably like, hey, guys, like, it's probably not good to build this whole brand, to build 9+, probably like 20 people's livelihoods on something that Wizards could yank away at any second. Like, yeah, we're good so far. You're publishing your classes with them. They really like your subclasses. They're putting them on D&D Beyond. Everything's all copacetic for the moment. But it's still risky. And I think really the only other creator that's followed through on threats to leave D&D is like a little bit with the Dungeon Dudes, like very minorly. I think Pack Tactics had like one video about Pathfinder. And I think like WebDM is making their own TTRPG. So again, I think WebDM has much more staff. So I think that that's probably why they're more concerned about it. I think solo creators, not that they don't have like a good head on their shoulders for it, but they probably just don't take it as seriously as like a full-fledged company. There's my little rant about the IGL. Imagine if I was streaming back then. Oh boy.
I'll move with Grog, assuming that he would agree with me that it's gonna be super cool.
He'd probably agree with you. What do you want to do?
Cool.
Okay. Thanks, Grog. So since Grog's kind of there, can we kind of arrange like a fastball special? Almost.
It became Scanlan's hand? Fuck yeah. That's sick as hell. I love it being Scanlan's hand. Yeah, man. I mean, look, obviously I am someone making D&D content about D&D. But like, I'm not making a business on it. I have a fucking day job. I go to a 9 to 5. If you are making your living on someone else's IP, you need a backup plan. You need to be working on ways to not have that be the case. My opinion, at least.
So have him like kind of go up and crouch, and then I'm gonna bust out.
How are you going to communicate this to Grog?
With like, you know,
I'm going to have to say, unfortunately, that's not going to work out for this moment. Grog's attention is on the Duragar,
That's fair.
and you are a giant guy.
Hey, I'm gonna sneak behind Tiberius and stab that guy.
Dude, druids are so powerful, you need to reel them back occasionally. They can't talk while they're a cat.
So cool though.
Thanks.
That would have been really cool.
And
cool.
since
Would've been
Tiberius is there, I can get sneak attack damage because if they're one of my allies.
All right, just a second though. You're still holding. You'll finish Keyleth. So Keyleth, what are you doing?
Well, I was gonna vault
Kill
off
it.
his
What are you gonna
back.
do?
Well, is Grog in my way?
Grog is there. You can attempt to leap over Grog.
I was wanting to vault off Grog's back, is what I was wanting to do.
You can do that without asking him.
Yeah, that's what I was
There
wanting
you
to do.
No, you were saying you want to tell Grog to do that, but yes, you can still do it. So go ahead and roll an acrobatics check.
Well, no, you asked how I was
No, you said you were.
Just do
just
it.
do it.
Do it,
Do it.
Keyleth!
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna like vault off his back and try and do a pounce like over top of Tiberius for that Duragar.
That's about as quick as something can go. The moment, dude, this is fucking interpersonal communication life advice. The moment you start arguing about the specific semantics of what each other said, there's no getting to a healthy resolution. You just need to move on. Like, you're not like, oh, I said I was going to ask him, or I said I was going to do it, yada, yada. Thank you, Paige. Paige got me a soda, because I'm fading. I'm not fading. I'm all right. But yeah, I think you just need to move past it at that point. Would you allow it if communication while in a specific animal form was established beforehand? Ooh. Yes? Why? Who established it? Me? If I established it beforehand, then yeah, I tend to stick with my own rules, but Or if an NPC did it, that's also fine. But like, yeah, I don't know. Probably not. It would depend on the animal, probably. Like an eagle, panther, nah. Monkey? Ape? Like, their shit's at least close to ours. Maybe I would have them roll like a general charisma check to see if they can even be understood. But generally, I would say a druid cannot talk in their wild shape unless they really convince me. Mega Man, in the last stream, I think you were eating sushi. What Chicago restaurant? Okay, that's a really fair thing to assume that I was doing, because what I was actually doing is ridiculous, and you would never assume it. I was not eating sushi. I was using chopsticks. I eat potato chips with chopsticks. So I was eating barbecued baked Lays. that I was just picking up with chopsticks. Cause listen, like, tell me it doesn't make sense right now. I'm looking in the camera for this one. Tell me it doesn't make sense, cause it do. You like a spoon and a fork is not precise enough to pick up single chips. And yes, and it saves your fingers, John. Thank you. It saves them from getting all like gross and dusty. I'm not like wiping them. I'm not licking them, especially on stream. And then you can pick up just one chip at a time. It's delightful. I've done this since like freshman year of college when I had those like easy chopsticks. Now I have like real chopsticks that I do it with. But yeah, that's what I was. So no sushi restaurant recommendations for you. Just Lay's barbecued potato chips. Using downtime to practice 5 signals. Ooh. AKL, I'd allow you to try. if I'm sitting at the table right now and you're my player and you're saying, and it's downtime, and you're like, hey, Mr. Mega Man, me and Druid want to practice communication within Wild Shape. I'd probably let you learn. Ooh, this is really restrictive. I was about to make it pretty hard on you. I was about to say 1 signal a week of downtime spent, which I'm still kind of tempted to do. That's my ruling for now, is 1 Wild Shape communicative symbol of like a simple idea that you could teach to a dog but Wild Shape. And I'll give you 1 a week of downtime. That's my ruling right now. Moving on with the session. And then you and me can talk about that ruling after the game, if you like it or don't like it. But yeah, I'd say on the spot, maybe. Yeah. I think those signals that have to be RP'd ahead of time. I've often thought about how to incorporate those military hand signals I see from movies. Yeah, I think that is the big thing, John. And even AKL, to your point of like, if they had used downtime beforehand. If this was, which you did kind of say, if communication in the animal form was established beforehand, then yeah, that's fine. Yeah. 1 signal a week would seem fair to me. I'm coming at this from an animal training perspective, assuming a very cooperative and smart animal, but also can see how it would get unbalanced. Yeah, I would limit you at the beginning of every downtime. I would say, what signal are you working on? And they would agree on a signal, and the more complicated the signal is, probably the more complicated I would make the checks for their training session. Because, every good downtime activity has several checks associated with it to see if there are any complications, if you succeed or fail, what degree to which you succeed or fail. So it would probably be the more complicated the communication, like the idea that you're communicating, the harder the DC is, or I would allow you to lower the DC by spending more weeks on it. So that's, I love like talking about specifics of how I would DM it, but yeah, I think I think that's where I would go with it, because I don't want to lock out of that completely. It's an interesting and cool idea, but we would fine tune how difficult it is pending the actual concept. Funny story, once before rehearsal, my pianist played with Dorito dust fingers, and she was disgusted but continued because that's life sometimes. That's showbiz, baby. We get there. That's funny.
Okay.
That's like closest to you.
Gotcha.
What am I rolling?
Acrobatics.
Acrobatics? Is this
Yes.
an acrobatics thing?
Come around the corner, you pull back, you leap up and jump onto Grog's back and attempt to spring off of it.
Also, I don't drink very much non-diet soda anymore. I mostly drink Zevia, which I have no idea if it's good for you or not, but it's clear, which helps my stomach, and it is, it's caffeinated, and I don't remember the other benefit of it. I have no idea what the health benefits are. I'm not a huge health boy. I just drink a lot of water, and work out sometimes. But if I do drink soda, I'm a Dr. Pepper man. I don't like Coke. I don't like Pepsi. It's clear, and I don't like Sprite. That was the other thing I was going to say about Zevia. Or Zevia, or whatever. But yeah, I like Dr. Pepper. My Ranger Druid character has a mute sister, but I would work with the DM to establish if the family sign language was an applicable extra language in game. Hell yeah. That's sick. That's very sick. Yeah, I mean, it definitely... I think if someone... I mean, sign language is literally what Thieves' Cant is. Thieves' Cant is a mixture of sign language and normal language and, like, code words. But I would render any manner of sign language to be a language that you can be proficient in. And in Xanathar's, in examples of downtime, is training someone in a language, like training someone in a new language proficiency. At least I think. If it's not, I would allow it. So yeah, I would totally render sign language its own language. Yeah. But had my first DP in a while today, and God, the bubble gut. I'm drinking it slow. Because I agree, fucking... It's the only thing nearby that I could get that I would like that would give me caffeine. Yeah, colored like non-clear sodas give me, bleh. and I don't like Sprite. Too much sugar. It's very. I still kind of feel queasy after it. Ugh. That's a very cool possibility, John. Signing, especially less common variant, is useful in so many situations. Yeah, totally. I used to be, fun fact, learning about Megaphone, man. I would not consider myself fluent anymore. But when I was in, I've said before that I'm originally from Kansas. And Kansas City has the second largest deaf population in the U.S., behind Washington, D.C. And so when I was there, my high school offered ASL, American Sign Language, as a language option. So it was like Spanish, German, and sign language. And I took sign language, and I worked at the Kansas School for the Deaf for a while. It was really sick. I loved sign language. I haven't used it in a really long time. It's very much one of those use it or lose it things. But I really want to relearn, because it's a very useful skill even for hearing people, if two hearing people know it. So yeah, it's very cool. I always thought Thieves' Cant was a mix between the hobo code and British slang. From my understanding, Thieves' Cant is also a collection of symbols. So it's like thieves' runes from Elder Scrolls. So Thieves' Cant is like basically everything, because it's also like body language. Like you could say the same thing in two different like postures and it means something different in Thieves' Cant. Thieves' Cant is very confusing. Yeah, cool factoid. Oh, you live in Kansas, Undead King? Very nice. Very cool. Kansas. I love where I grew up. Not gonna say specifics because I still have family that lives there. But yeah, no, Kansas is dope. Oh wow, I'm gonna start taking courses for ASL next semester. Dude, ASL is really dope. I mean, honestly, I think that every hearing person could easily learn the sign language alphabet, like the finger spelling alphabet. And you can't communicate fast, but you can at least communicate with a deaf person. I remember my first semester taking sign language, I went to Walgreens to pick up my mom's prescription, and there was a deaf person at the counter, and they were not able to like communicate their prescription name, and they very slowly, and they were like both annoyed and glad that I was there, because all I knew at that point was finger spelling and slow down. So they would try to sign to me and then try to finger spell, and I would just be like, please slow. I'm sorry. I'm learning. I think. But yeah, I mean, finger spelling just allows you to communicate, which is a huge step forward for interacting with deaf people. So it was, yeah, ASL's dope, though. It's especially dope because you don't actually have to learn, like, a new, like, set of words, if that makes sense. You're just learning, like, physical representations, which in my brain, I've tried to learn other languages as well, and I just did much better with sign language, because like the physical mapping of it really helped me learn it and practice it. But yeah, that's dope. I'm excited for you, Chewy.
11.
11. Okay. All right. So you jump off of Grog's back. Grog, not expecting it, instinctively ducks down in the force you push off, as he's not aware that there's going to be a giant cat there. In doing so, it doesn't give you the momentum you need. You are able to jump over him and get kind of into the center of the fray, but you do not have the pounce attack,
Okay.
unfortunately.
That's fine.
But it gets you there, at least.
Oh, can I not attack?
You can attack, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do my bite attack.
Go for it.
I'm gonna go right for his throat. Still with the same intention that I had in mind.
Okay, it's the one that took the arrow from
Okay,
before.
17.
17?
Yeah.
That hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Hell yeah.
5.
Oh, I'm gonna sit down.
10 damage. Piercing damage.
10 piercing damage. All right, so as you rush forward, you bite at him. You see he pulls back, but you get a big meaty chunk of his forearm and clamp down. You feel a snap of some sort of bone in the middle of his arm, and he gives out a horrible sound as he takes the butt of his hammer and hits you on the snout. Doesn't do any damage, but it's enough to get you to kind of
It's my sitting down dance.
let go of your grip a little bit, and he rips his arm out of your jaws, leaving that kind of nasty, irony taste of Duragar blood that you've now become accustomed to, unfortunately. And it's round now.
Okay,
You have Tiberius and a cat in your way.
the doors go in or out that I'm by?
The doors go in.
In, so I'm just gonna go like this and throw a dagger and peekaboo at the same time.
Okay. As you step out,
That is a 29 to hit.
that does hit.
Okay.
You do not get sneak attack bonus, unfortunately.
Even though my ally is 5 feet away from him.
Totally, AKL. Especially, I mean, you know, specifically in Kansas City, where it does have such a large deaf population, it was surprisingly useful. I honestly did not expect how useful it would be, and it felt like the moment I learned it, like, I just ran into deaf people everywhere. And I think probably I just wasn't aware of it before. But yeah, it's very, yeah. I mean, I just love sign language. I really want to. Me and my wife keep talking about learning it just so that we can talk to each other in loud places, because I have really bad hearing. But it's also just like, I'd like to learn it again. I'd like to be bilingual. I won't say that I necessarily think it's like, well, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, because I keep thinking of the word important to be bilingual. And I don't know if it's necessarily important, but I think that that the process of becoming fluent in a language makes you a lot better at a lot of things. And it's a very, like, useful self-development skill beyond the, like, increased communication that you can have with, like, just a whole other sect of human beings, which is, like, equally amazing, and opens you up to so many new ideas. So yeah, I really want to, I love learning languages. I was also, I mean, debatably, I'm still fluent in Tokipona, but Tokipona is very much one where if you're not talking in it all the time, it starts to become difficult to understand what people are saying.
I thought I remember that rule.
You do if you're in melee with them. Like you get the bonus if you're both like flanking them or you're like carrying them in combat. Because you're at distance, you don't get the bonus.
Okay, so that is
Actually, I'm not even gonna claim it. I just thought about it and I was like, I'm gonna get comments in Tokipona, and then I'm not gonna know what they say, and I'm gonna be very embarrassed. I'm not fluent. Don't do it.
a 9, and then
Anything that allows you to see your experience isn't the only way. Multiple languages, traveling abroad, etc. Always good. Yeah. And I think that there's a kind of I think the reason I was so hesitant is I think that there's a big push to say that like you have to travel the world to be like a complete person. You have to know about these other things outside of your immediate surroundings. And like I think that those things are good. I do think that they expand your horizons and can really help you grow as a person. But I also know that there are some people who have a lot that they're dealing with in their immediate surroundings that require their full attention constantly. So I'm not going to put it on anyone that doesn't do that, but I do highly recommend it because I do think that it gives you a lot of benefits that you can't get anywhere else. Yeah, exactly what you said, John, though. Yeah, Chewy, exactly.
I'm going to follow the 9 in damage.
All right.
And immediately follow up with my other dagger, which also hits.
All right, go ahead and roll damage on the second dagger. Which is 1d4 plus 1.
6. That's 9.
9. Okay. So after the guy rips his arm out of Keyleth's face, essentially, a dagger comes swinging out from behind the doorway, stabs him in the other shoulder. He looks down at it, confused for a second. As that dagger vanishes in a puff of dark smoke, returning to your side of your hilt, he looks up just in time to see the second dagger catch him right in the middle of the forehead, and he just falls onto his back at that point, unmoving. That Durgar is stripped. Who's up next? Who wants to do anything? Who hasn't done anything yet this action?
Is there a door next to me? Or another room?
You're just finishing.
I'm just finishing. Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, so Pike, you haven't done anything yet?
Can I, is there a door there somewhere right there?
You move around here, there is a door over here, yes.
Do it, Pike.
Can't really do anything?
Yeah,
Check
unfortunately.
it out.
Yeah.
Also, very minor thing. This is a legitimate question. Back to actual D&D. I do enjoy hanging out and just chatting though. But back to the matter at hand. Are there 2 shitters? And if so, are they like a men's and a women's shitter? 'Cause this is something that I'm super not sure. What are you doing, Bug? Bug. Hey, off. She was like digging all up in the carpet. This is something I'm super unsure about. Did they have men's and women's bathrooms in like medieval Renaissance eras? For some reason, I just kind of assumed that they were a modern invention. I don't know. I kind of assumed that they came along with like the flush toilet, especially when it came to like communal bathrooms like this. But I could be totally wrong. I have no idea about that factoid in trivia. It just feels weird to me that there's 2 of them.
Here, there is a door over here, yes.
Do it, Pike.
Can't really do anything?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
You can't
the
stealth.
door
Just
is
I can't
a
stealth, so-
secondary guest room.
All right, now poop on this bed.
All right.
I'm gonna, if I do anything, I'm gonna make noise. That's why I hit.
It is a guest room of equal design and dressing as the one that Scanlan, you are unaware, is currently fouling.
I don't know.
Indeed.
Maybe I get a sudden urge for some reason to just poo on the bed.
You can do what you want. Be aware.
Matt is just like this. I spent so much time on this dungeon, man. I spent so much time, and there's gonna be such a cool fight at the end of it, and you guys are just pooing in all the rooms, and I don't know what to do about this. I feel like I should punish you, but I don't even know how.
Pike as a character has her intent,
Yes, I know.
and if
I'm
the
just
more
kidding.
you stray from
That's
that,
not
the
what
more it'll have
That's
ramifications
not what I
for
want
her.
to do. I was just had this feeling that Scanlan was doing something, and I felt something.
She can probably hear
Okay.
muffled from that.
I am also fine with like what Matt just said there about like, you know, Pike is a character. The more you stray from her established character, the more the issues will be. Also, let's establish Pike is wearing heavy armor. You gotta doff that shit. That takes like 15 minutes to doff. Each round of combat is 6 seconds. Pike is going to be gone for the rest of the session, shitting, if she decides to. Which, maybe that's what Matt was cooking up in his head. He's like, really? You really want to do this? Okay, like... Oh, man. But I like that. You know, I kind of talked some shit on the alignment chart, on D&D alignment, because I don't think that it really tells you much sufficient information about a character. But I do like it, like, if you guys are established characters, they're level 9 at this point. All of their characters are well established to Matt. If he knows what their characters do and what they would or wouldn't do, and they start straying away from that for like some silly jokes and bits and banter, I'm all for the DM being like, Pike is acting strangely and the world reacts strangely to her. I think that's totally
Okay, so I'll just I guess I can't do anything while I'm in there, so can I just
That's about as far as you're able to move. You can still use your action if you wanted to do anything, but right now your vision is currently very well blocked by a woman on a bear and a man who's the size of a bear.
Okay, so I'll just hang out there.
Okay. So that brings us back to Kima, who currently doesn't have any sort of way of getting over there.
Oh! Really quick, funny comment that has nothing to do with anything. John's in Chicago. Undead King is in Kansas. You want to know the shit that I found out? Chicago, I think it's actually Illinois as a state. Illinois' like slogan that I guess an ad agency came up with for like modern branding is the middle of everything. And as a born and raised Kansan, that pissed me off so much. The idea, the audacity that a state across a body of water from Canada is going to claim to be the middle of everything? Get the fuck out of here, brother. I have been to Lawrence and Manhattan, Kansas. I've been to Salina, Kansas. I have family in Salina. That is... you are not in the middle of everything, Illinois. I've never heard of that. Dude, I got a fucking sticker with it on it. That's how I heard of it. Land of Lincoln, Illinois. I think that's the actual one. But I was out at like an event. We went to Midsommar's event up in Andersonville. And they were handing out these like stickers and these shirts with Illinois, middle of everything. And I was like, fuck you, dude. Come on. OT, I had never heard of about Tokipona before, and I'm now barely resisting going down that rabbit hole. Dude, Tokipona's sick as hell. I'll tell you that, and it's not that hard to learn. But that's why I immediately was like, I'm not fluent. Because I feel like if you don't use it at least once a week, you just forget the entire language. Because it's like kind of like that straightforward. But yeah, exactly. Thank you, John. It is obviously the center. Yeah, I like Land of Lincoln is fine. A little lame, could be better. But yeah, me and my wife got those stickers and we were like, you're shitting me. Come on.
Kind of frustrating, kind of trying to find a way over.
But yeah, highly recommend Tokipona AKL. If you keep up on it, it is so much fun.
It's a narrow hallway.
Clarota, who is still invisible, is just going to hold on that point.
As everybody's doing this, I'm going, why are you blocking me? I'm not supposed to be this close to this thing! Keep going.
Okay. Person. Stand there. All right, Tiberius, you're up.
Well, shit.
Can you just...
Can I look behind my... Aren't you right next to the guy?
Just like
Kill him.
flame hands.
Think of it quick. I'm going to move to the next turn.
Okay.
John, you're one of those. Fucking... Grr, I'll fight you. Look. Look. I'll give it to you. You know what? Even though that doesn't make any sense, it is like the middle of the West. If you look west of the Mississippi, Midwest, yes. I'll give it to you. If Kansas is the Great Plains, Missouri is the South. I will not stand for people calling Missouri the Midwest when it is fucking backwoods country people. Fuck, I'm getting heated. It is swamp. Missouri is practically all swamp. It's like being in Louisiana, just a little bit further north. And you're gonna call Missouri the Midwest, and you're not. And Kansas is the Great Plains. Get the fuck out of here. Missouri's the South. If you were on the side of slavery, you're the South. Kansas is in the Union. Let's go. Okay, you know what, John? Then we're on the same side. I can reach across and shake your hand. I don't agree with you, but at least we agree about goddamn Missouri. If some of y'all aren't from around that area, the Kansas-Missouri rivalry is heated. It's hot. Especially if you live near the border. I know a lot of like western and central Kansans don't give a shit. But if you live within like 2-3 hours of the border, that rivalry runs deep.
I'll just lift up my hand and go, firebolt.
Okay. Point blank firebolt. Go ahead and roll your spell attack.
Okay. 20.
20. All right.
But also, I would clarify that if we're calling Kansas the Great Plains, and I would call like Missouri, Arkansas, that area like Ozarkia, if we're starting to get down to this, and I would call everywhere around the Great Lakes just the Great Lakes region. The Midwest as a concept means fucking nothing. Like, I think that all of the Great Lakes states are much more defined by their proximity to the water than anything else about them. Most of Kansas City is in Missouri, yes. Depends on what you're talking about. Ozark country, yes. Arkansas and Mo, yes. I think Ozark country is a fantastic way to describe that region of the U.S. that really doesn't apply to anywhere else. Okay, Kansas City Metro? No. Most of Kansas City Metro is like pretty evenly split amongst like Johnson County, Jackson County, Wyandotte County. But if you're talking about like, if you actually compare Kansas City, Missouri, the actual like incorporated city versus Kansas City, Kansas basically doesn't exist. It's this tiny little blip that barely no one lives in that is surrounded by all of these real cities that are on the Kansas side that are like the Kansas City Metro. So that's shit like Lenexa, Olathe, Overland Park, Prairie Village, all that bullshit. So I look, and I'll admit, the Kansas City, Missouri, they got the stadiums. They got most of downtown. And I also know the fun fact that Kansas City, Missouri is the original, and the Kansas politicians actually stole the name as a branding scheme. Fun fact, you can look it up. But I'm still Kansas in my fucking blood. I don't give a shit. They don't deserve it. We're taking it back. Oh yeah, okay. I'll tell you, I loved growing up in that area. It was a dope place to grow up. Lots of fun stuff. Cost of living is rock bottom. It is so cheap to live in that area. Even in like Kansas City, like city. Very, 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 very cheap. Compared to, like now I'm in Chicago. We were looking at like Seattle and New York, like compared to that sort of shit. And if you go out into like central western Kansas, if you go like Wichita, woo, you can get some nice shit in Wichita for not that much. So, I love Kansas though. I'm very happy to have grown up there.
That'll hit. Go ahead and roll for damage in the firebolt.
Okay. 18, that's 23.
23 damage?
Yeah.
All right, so as you simply pull back and you release the blast of firebolt energy, the Duragar, who is currently harrying you with his warhammer, takes the brunt of it right to the bottom of his face and his torso. The studded leather armor that he's wearing kind of tears open with a sheer flaming burst and the impact of it, and you see most of his skin is charred and burned at that point. He reels back for a second, looking very, very hurt, but not quite put down yet.
As my bonus action, I'll spend 2 sorcerer points and do it again.
Oh.
Okay.
And I'll roll for that. That's
Wait.
20.
Wait, what? Say again? What's he doing? Am I getting confused right now? Okay, 10. Okay. Damage on Firebolt. Okay, so he's twin spelling Firebolt? I don't understand what he's doing. Is he... I mean, you have to twin beforehand, so I guess he's quickening? Whatever it's like quickened spell. And he's just gonna do a Firebolt again? Seems like a waste of quickened spell to me, but no, what are you gonna do?
My bonus
But also, oh no, quickened is 2.
action,
Okay.
I'll spend 2 sorcerer points and do it again.
Oh.
Okay.
And I'll roll for that. That's 22.
All right, the second blast, as he reaches back, before he can even get a chance to get back to his feet, the second blast hits. This time it sends him off of his feet, flying about 5-10 feet back, skidding across the ground.
15 damage.
Yes. And that puts him still on the floor, laid out with a burn.
Wait, so are they like treating it as a fireball, not a firebolt? I'm lost in this whole interaction. I'm not gonna rewind it because I don't think it matters that much. But yeah, that was weird.
Burning, kind of crippling, crispy scent in the air of what was once a standing Duragar, now dead and burning on the ground.
So once again, I grab him by the scruff,
We have a new
I
bathroom.
think there's another
take him and
commode on
put him
the
in the
other side.
bathroom.
There is.
I give a couple of pats on Tiberius' shoulder and start to inch down the hole.
All right, as you guys are doing this, Scanlan steps out of the guest room, getting his pantaloons back on.
My invisible pantaloons.
Yes. You hear the footprints of Scanlan. You being still invisible, you essentially just you phantom
I phantom poop.
phantom pooped. Okay, so that's a
Did
thing.
I find anything in there, by the way? No.
You found
Just
a
relief.
you found a fun way to prank Duragar.
Oh yeah, did I find anything in the barracks?
Over there, no.
Yeah.
Did Liam find out what was? Hex find anything shiny in the room? The shiny.
No,
thing?
I got
barely stepped in.
interrupted.
Oh well.
Oh yeah, go get it.
That's a good idea. Thanks for the reminder, Percy.
You're welcome. Yes.
I checked for traps before, but I can't remember what I rolled. I'm sure it was successful.
Go ahead and roll again.
17.
Okay. As you push the door open again and glance inside of the main hall, you don't see any traps across the floor.
Okay, I'm gonna go check out the shiny thing.
Okay. Anyone else staying out in the hallway?
I'm coming with him
Okay.
if I can get there.
You managed to scoot through, dancing around, folks. People kind of let you get by. Anyone else?
Yeah, sure. I like shiny things.
I'm burying my shame. Again.
I'll go
Burying
in
the
too.
Duragar.
I'll move up a little
Okay,
bit.
so you're dragging the Duragar over into the.
I'll go in too.
Okay.
I'll follow.
We're all going.
Everyone's
it's a
going
big,
into the
happy
room.
Well, I guess I'll go
So
after
say we
I
all.
bury Duragar.
Okay.
Yeah, we're probably gonna
Oh, dear.
get attacked in here.
Yes, as you guys step in here, you move over towards the back corner where there's the shiny glint. Tiberius, you stay outside or inside?
I'm going to wait for everybody to go inside.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be
Somebody hang
team
back.
outside posse.
Yeah.
Tina walks in. Grog goes to start making his way in. As he does, and you go over towards the glimmer. The glimmer on the table, you look, it's just formless in kind of this weird
crap.
spark of light. It then vanishes, and the doors.
John, we were chuckling about it because we were out at dinner and all of the cell phone warnings go off for the tornado, and we had walked to dinner and we were like, oh crazy, that's wild, and like people looked like visibly uncomfortable about all of like the tornado warnings on the cell phones going off. And yeah, it did not phase. We used to, especially, this is a big Wichita pastime specifically, because when I was growing up, a lot of my family lived in Wichita. And Wichita people are like, they really don't give a shit about tornadoes. Kansas City people, they're still they still have a healthy dose of fear about them. But whenever I was at my grandma's house, if there was a tornado warning or siren, we would go out on her front porch to see if we could see them. And then someone would have the radio with like the radar person like talking to see like where it was. And if it ever got too close, we would go downstairs. But we would always see if we could see it off in the distance. Yeah, it was very casual. I think Oklahoma, from what I understand, Kansas is like 6th or 7th in like most or in like most tornadoes. I think Oklahoma might actually be the most. But it was pretty common.
You guys entered?
It's a trap.
At least enough that I can tell you I have no idea what to do in case of an earthquake. I still have my tornado drill training from grade school drilled into my head.
Slam behind you.
It's probably similar.
With Tiberius, Grog, and Keyleth all kept out.
I will impart one piece of knowledge that I don't think, if you're not familiar with tornadoes or if you don't deal with them very often, that you might not know. If a tornado is in your area, you're taking shelter downstairs or in a like a very reinforced building or area. If you have windows, so like if you're in a basement that has like windows on it, then you should crack your windows. You should open them. Because if a tornado gets really, really, really close to you, the pressure difference and the pressure gradient can be strong enough between the outside and the interior of your house to break your windows. It's happened to some of my relatives. So if a tornado is near your house and you're taking shelter, you should crack all of your basement windows to equalize the pressure. Fun fact. I used to not care about tornadoes, but last year we almost got hit by one, and now I have a healthy fear and caution for tornadoes. That's fair. Most people that I know that have actually been near one are way less flippant about them than people that have just been in the area. Because there are so many, and a lot of Kansas is empty, that like a lot of times tornadoes really aren't like that devastating. They mostly tear up fields. So there's this kind of like flippant attitude towards them, but they are devastating. Like they're not a joking matter. The Wichita people have a little bit of an unhealthy lack of caution around them. Growing up in the Chi Burbs, we had tornado drills at school. Hell yeah. Yeah. I didn't know what sort of natural shit Illinois had. I was like, I don't know, you're close to a lake, you get waves that are big. I don't know. Everything I know about tornadoes I learned from Twister. I assume that will be sufficient to save my life if I'm ever around one. There will be a quiz, AKL, and I'm sure you will pass.
Outside of the room?
Twister's a documentary, yeah. We had one on Mother's Day that ripped through my neighborhood, and ever since then I always get nervous, but not really scared. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they are scary things that you can take pretty decent precautions against, like earthquakes. It's most of them are not going to like actually threaten your life, but in the moment you will not be able to tell which is which. Which I think is the most nerve-wracking thing about it. Is it's kind of hard to like they can like really go up and down in classifications, not at random. I'm sure meteorologists, there's a lot of science as to why. But when you're in the situation hearing the sirens, it can snap to a higher grade, and suddenly you're in much more danger than you were.
The rest of you guys, the flames go to darkness, and the entire room goes pitch black.
Oh shit!
Oh no, we don't have
I
light.
motion to Grog.
In the darkness, I say, "Fuck."
Oh, interesting. I bet. Yeah, I don't know. Lake Michigan's crazy, man. Assuming like you grew up here. I was not expecting, like, I don't live very close to the lake, and we went there one day, and like I dressed one way, and then I got to the lake, and it was like 5 to 9 degrees cooler at the lakefront, and I was like, oh my god, I should have brought a jacket. Like, that shit's crazy. I've never, obviously, Kansas, never been that near that kind of body of water. Like, it's very wild, to me at least.
Stupid.
I motion to Grog. I'm like, you know what to do, damn it.
Grog's gonna go for the door. However, at this point in time, I'm going to ask
Can
for...
we stealth? I guess we're all
Ask for.
All right, so...
Roll for Deus Ex Machina.
Oh, you're gonna ask the chat room something?
No, I'm not. I'm working out what's actually going to happen here. All right, so suddenly there is a cacophonous bit of pain streaking through Pike. Let's see, the Pike, Vex, and Clarota. Guys, go ahead and make a intelligence saving throw.
Intelligence.
Yes.
All of us?
Some sort of mind thing.
Crud.
Int saving throws. Interesting.
Intelligence.
Oh! No, I don't get an advantage.
13.
Not you. You don't have to remember.
No.
No, just you two. So go ahead.
Oh, never mind. That was such a good roll.
What was that? That's a 1.
Okay.
I rolled a 1.
So in the darkness, suddenly there's this searing pain, like some sort of screaming sound is blasting you from the inside of your very mind. You two are both currently stunned.
Oh, crud.
Who's you two?
Me and Pike,
Oh,
I did bad
Well,
things.
there's this
I did
thing.
bad things.
Okay.
Actually, get some markers.
Shouldn't have killed a man while he was down.
Alrighty.
Wait, so what is... So that means we just can't do anything,
we have to
right?
roll
means
like saving.
Every turn you get to try and break out of it. Right now, neither of you can do anything.
Every turn they have to try and break out of it. It keeps going.
Yep.
It's like a keep going thing.
You both are just sitting there grasping your heads,
keep
it's like,
going.
screaming in pain as your body is unable to function or listen to any sort of thought process. Clarota also, unfortunately, falls victim to this.
Whoa.
And is also unable to make any actions.
What the fuck is this? Is this the Banshee silent or psychic scream? What is... Or is this a homebrew trap? I don't know what this is.
I'm
In
pulling
the darkness.
I'm pulling out my flame tongue dagger to try to get a little bit of light in here.
All right. However,
Yes.
you, as you're currently pulling out your flame tongue dagger, you feel a presence nearby, and with a little bit of embers around the fire, you see, out of nothing, a figure step into view. That apparently was not visible but a moment before. A tall, lithe figure with long limbs, fingers, and a wrapping of facial tentacles coming towards your face.
He's invisible. Shit.
I see him. I'm gonna stab. I'm just gonna stab.
Before you get the chance to stab, you get a surprise attack from this guy.
Oh no! What if he sucks our
that
brains
guy.
out?
All right. That comes to an 18 versus armor class.
Yeah, you got me.
All right. So, as you...
I didn't know this was that was a mind flayer attack. Interesting. Also, pedantic, but I've explained it before. Surprise attacks, surprise rounds, not a thing. Everyone rolls initiative, and then people are surprised. It might matter in this case, because I have a feeling that this guy is going to attack Liam, and then potentially step out of his range, which, depending on initiative rolls, might actually give Liam an attack of opportunity, depending on if Liam's initiative was higher than the Mind Flayers. So, doesn't matter all that often. Normally it's just pedantic and whatever, but in this case, we'll see, it might.
Go back for your blade to pull it out. It grabs you by the shoulders and pulls you, and the tentacles wrap around your face and pull you into this horrible toothy maw, and you feel this tearing pain sensation as its teeth begin to dig into your face.
No!
I'm soon. Okay.
That hurts.
Not
You take 17 points of psychic damage as the actual presence of the tentacles pulling on your face. You can feel it's kind of grabbing your brain and trying to hold it in place, and you're currently considered correct.
Okay, John. I will try to map it out, because I know that this is the least understood, one of the least understood changes in 5e compared to older editions, especially. If you don't understand it after this, we'll just leave it. It's honestly not that big a deal most of the time. There are only like niche circumstance where it actually matters. So let's talk like 3.5 versus 5e, right? In 3.5, you have Mr. Illithid, right? He attacks you. And in this case, Mr. Illithid gets a whole round by himself. You do not get to go this round. And then next round, so this is like, up here is like pre-combat, down here is first round. First round, 0 round. And then, this is the, sorry, not 1. This is the surprise round. And then down here, Mr. Illithid and you both go during the real round 1. So that's surprise round. In 5e, the surprise condition works like this. There's before combat, before initiative, where Mr. Illithid attacks you. There is no surprise round. We go straight into round 1. And the thing about over here, the thing about the surprise round doesn't matter what the initiatives are, right? Because there's the surprise. It's just like whoever's in the surprise round would need to determine initiative. So since the Illithid in this case is the only one in the surprise round, no need for initiative. In round 1, since you're both going, you need to determine initiative. So, I don't know, let's say he gets a fucking 3 and you get like a 17 because you're goated. You're a little rogue. So now we've determined initiative, right? In this case, in round 1, in round 1, we have Mr. Illithid and you. We go straight from the pre-round into round 1, and both of you roll initiative. So let's keep the same initiatives from over there. Let's call you a 17, but also, you're surprised. Very bad, right? However, in this case, this is the big difference. Since you got the 17, you go first. And you get rid of surprise during your turn. You cannot do anything besides get rid of your surprise. So now, first turn, you have now gone. Your 17 is your 17 is passed. We go through the rest of the order. We're down to Illithid on the 3. Now, since you are no longer surprised, you took your turn getting rid of your surprise. If they walk up to you, attack you, and then walk away, you can use your reaction. That's the huge difference. That's the only difference, really, at the end of the day. In a surprise round, you're not even involved in the surprise round, right? The surprise round is just the Illithid doing whatever it wants. You can't react, you can't take an action, you can't move, none of that. In this one, with the surprise condition, everyone's in the same round. But while you're surprised, the only thing you can do on your turn is get rid of your surprise. And so if you do that before the enemy, you can now use your reaction. Now, if that still doesn't make sense, because it is confusing, don't worry about it. Just use surprise rounds. It's not that important. If we're being totally honest. I like to educate. I like to, clarify rules. But if that still just is too much, fuck it.
Son of a bitch.
Okay.
Now, guys, everyone roll initiative.
And I will say, I'm a bit of a, I wouldn't even call myself a hypocrite, but some might. If I'm the DM, right, and I'm sitting here with all my DM knowledge, if I know that there's no way that an enemy is going to trigger a reaction, I'll just call it a surprise round and just get on with my day. So in 5e, if you're a rogue, sneak up on an enemy and attack from the shadows, the NPC, if they roll high, can negate the surprise condition to negate sneak attack. Let me think about that. Yes. Yeah, because you're only getting, I mean, unless you would otherwise give the rogue advantage, yes. Straight up. Yeah, if the rogue rolls bad, then yes. Because the surprise is traditionally what gives you the advantage on the attack. Now, your DM can be really nice. Your DM can award you advantage for what the fuck ever. So they could say that you still have advantage on the attack, but if they don't give you extra advantage, then rules as written, yeah, there would be no sneak attack there. Unless you have something else that can trigger sneak attack. Correspondingly, in this situation, it actually is very impactful for rogues specifically. In this situation, in rules as written 5e, Vax should have been able to uncanny dodge that attack if he had rolled high enough on his initiative. If Vax had rolled higher than the Illithid on initiative, even if he was surprised, his surprise would have gone away, and then he would have been able to reaction uncanny dodge. And the Illithid would have only done half damage. So it does matter, but like in the grand scheme of things, probably not. But it is impactful sometimes. Then I think Matt keeps the 3.5 rules for that. He definitely allows and does surprise rounds. I've noticed that he mostly seems to be doing surprise rounds. It's one of the most commonly mistaken rules in 5e. It's on like all of the trivia things where it's like, what's wrong with this? And inevitably it's that they're doing a surprise round. So I very much understand why someone who just switched and has been like, running like 1E, 2E, 3.5 Pathfinder, why he would be more familiar with surprise rounds.
That was the surprise round.
Yes. Surprise rounds.
Yes.
You got the drop on us.
That'll do.
What's going on in there?
It's alright.
I hear lots of ruckus.
We'll be out in a minute.
Don't give me that, Scanlan. Oh. Scanlan, you can hear me.
No, don't let me touch it.
What's going on in there?
Oh, we're all dying.
Oh, I searched the crowd. They're all dying.
All right, so 25 to 20.
Oh, another kind of niche thing is if they are surprised and part of the enemy's attack is to like drop out the floor from underneath them. Basically, if the enemy's action in combat is to drop out the floor, with surprise round rules, they would just fall. Flat out, they would fall immediately, however many feet, and they would land and they would take damage. With surprise round, or with, not surprise round, with 5e, surprise condition, if, say, a sorcerer or a wizard that has feather falling rolls a higher initiative than the thug that started the combat by doing this attack, theoretically, that spellcaster, their surprise could have worn off. They could use their reaction to then feather fall the group, and they'd be fine. So, yeah. Take that for what it's worth.
No one.
All right, 25 to 29. Almost forgot. Go ahead and make an intelligence saving throw.
Everyone does a Grog impression.
Or they try to.
Everyone tries really hard.
Good. 23.
23. All right. You feel the presence of its mind pressing into your brain, and you manage to, through the pain of its tentacles pulling you towards its mouth, shrug off its current attempt to push into your mind.
I'm thinking of the middle finger.
That's a good thing. Okay. So you're still grappled, but you're not stunned.
Is he a piece on the board yet?
Both of them are now visible right there.
Oh, there they are.
All right. So 25 to 20.
Nobody.
Holy shit, it's 1:11 and it's a 4-hour session. Guys, we've been talking too much. It's almost 9 p.m. Central. I've been streaming for 4 hours? Is that right? Oh my god, nearly like 3 hours, not 4. 3 hours, and we've made it through probably a third of that. No, not your bad, John. I've been having so much fun talking to y'all. I've been talking, and you were asking, I was getting us off on tangents about Kansas and Missouri. We were tornadoes, which I had fun with. I love hanging out with you guys and just chatting. Like, that is like my ideal stream experience. I'm more saying uh-oh because looks like this is a 4-hour episode. And at the current pace that we are going, we'll be ending that at like, what would that be? Like 6 a.m.? So now comes the decision. Do I up the speed and we just try to blow through this shit, or do we do a part 1 and a part 2? I'm fine, by the way, doing a part 1 and a part 2. If this is like a particularly interesting episode. But if this is like an episode 5 type episode, maybe we put it on like 0.5 and try to push through. I don't know. What do you guys think? I have to duck out soon. Gotta check out C3. Oh my god, I forgot that. Yeah, C3's tonight. Okay. We'll probably just split this one up. I might go until I'm gonna take one break right now. Feel free. It's like an episode 5 IMHO. Ooh, interesting. Well, okay. We'll see how it goes. We'll see, what happens. Maybe I'll turn it on to like 1.25 and we'll start trucking through it. But also feel free, duck out, watch the new C3. I'm wanting to be the warm up after all. We also don't have this on 1.5. Yeah. I remember it's better than 5, but not particularly great. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I'll up the speed for now, and we'll see how far we get. If I just keep talking, just keep chattering away, then maybe this will have to be a 2-parter. But we'll see.
20 to 15?
17.
17.
17 and 16? All right. So, Chigarago's going first. All right, and Percy. 15 to 10? 10 to 5?
Oh, wait, 13. Sorry, I was thinking about shit.
That's okay. 10 to 5? 9.
Thinking about shit.
Saying about life and
I
death.
get it.
Word.
All right. 2.
Oh, so did I!
Oh, that's almost twinsies.
Gnomesies.
I cannot remember.
Right now, it's here.
We're still, Mr. Dungeon Master,
Would
sorry.
anything be going better if you weren't a tiger?
This is all the same day. I didn't get any of my spells back.
No, you guys have not rested. All right, so first, the top, actually, Kima is at the top of the initiative order.
Get it.
I cast 100 spells.
Kima angrily leaps on top of the table and goes running down with an angry yell, "Ah!" and leaps down towards the one that's currently grabbing onto you with its grapple.
Also, I'm calling it right now. If she smites right now, she can divine smite all she fucking wants. There is an eldritch smite, so she could still be a goddamn warlock. And I don't want to hear shit about it in the chat. Kima equals Kavarn.
As she's running, a little bit of light bursts, as you can see, this divine energy begin to burst and glow off the edge of the greatsword that she's holding. She leaps down, and with a giant arc through the air that lights up that portion of the room with a brief sweep, the blade comes down towards... Oh, that'll hit. Second attack also hits.
Yes, go Kima! Go Kima.
All right, so that comes to... Okay, using her Divine Smite ability on top of that, she manages to deal 37 points of damage to it.
Eldritch smite, I would say.
As she finishes both of her strikes simultaneously, the Mind Flayer, however, does not release its grasp on you. You are still considered grappling.
Sounds like a
that ends her turn. Grog now is going to angrily attempt to bash into this door. He's going to make an
Go,
attack.
girl, go!
She does an athletics check. He's going to go into a rage.
Yes!
Yes! Away at the door.
I would like to rage.
I will keep circuit AKL. This is gonna be okay. I was legitimately thinking about this. I was like, okay, what happens if I'm right? If I'm right, I can't tell anyone because clearly I must have watched ahead, right? Because no other way could I have just figured it out because I'm smart. But if I'm wrong, am I wrong? have we seen Kima and Kavarn in the same room together? Or does Kima conveniently die before Kavarn's revealed? Huh? Oh no, Kima got her fucking sword back and she decided to go back to the exit, and then we had to escort Clarota back down and face off with Kavarn without Kima with us. Very interesting. Sounds a lot like Superman and Clark Kent, if you ask me. So we will see. And if it works in any way, shape, or fashion, it's becoming my new headcanon.
All right, that puts a total of 32 points of damage. That's enough. So Grog just takes 2 big swings. The first one comes through, cracks the door in half, splitting it down the center. Veers back the second time, cleaves through the door entirely with a little bit left in the hinges. He kicks out with his foot, leaving now this side completely open to the interior. He then moves in around Clarota. That's as far as he can get with this current turn, though. That brings us to Vax.
What can I do in grapple? Nothing until I'm ungrappled?
Well, no, you can try and make an acrobatics or athletics roll against them to try and break free.
Okay, but and then do I have an action once that's done, or that's the action?
I'll let you use as your move.
All right. So I'm gonna try to use that. I guess athletics.
All right, not how any of that works. This is also fun fact for people who don't have rules lawyers tendencies, like me just explaining surprise round a second ago. Being grappled, the only thing that being grappled does is make your movement 0. That's it. That's all that being grappled does. It means that your movement is 0. You can take full actions, bonus actions, reactions, really whatever you want. If it's not moving, you can do it. That's it. And then it is an action to break free. So just none of that. He was right about acrobatics or athletics. So I guess good on that, but I'll share the timestamps. Sounds good, John. I will see you later, my man.
Athletics is what I would do?
Or acrobatics, up to you, whichever's higher.
Well, that would be acrobatics. 27.
27?
But yeah, so fun fact about grappling. The best thing that you can do with a grapple, and this is a really good maneuver for fighters. If you're a higher level fighter that has multi-attack, in multi-attack, you can replace any of the individual attacks within your multi-attack to do any of like the creative combat options. So pushing, pulling, grappling, shoving. Pushing is shoving. Any of that sort of stuff. What you can do is one attack, shove them to the ground. It's an athletics check. Once they are on the ground, they are now prone. You can then grapple them. And because a creature has to use half their movement to get up from being prone, while they are grappled, they are stuck prone, which gives the prone condition is actually very bad and detrimental, because melee attacks have advantage on you and you have a disadvantage on melee attacks. I believe it could just be that they have advantage on you and you're not affected. I can't recall, but that's a fun maneuver if you weren't aware of it. Very, very good for fighters, or just for like two melee people. Like one shoves them down, one grapples them, and then you both have advantage next turn. But 2:02, timestamp after the break. It's a little earlier when they start back up, but 2 semi-important things. Back up, and both are sort of necessary to see as a critter. While this section is happening, you might be like, this is boring busy work. How is this important? But just trust me. Fair enough, John. I got you. Yeah, I'll trust you.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Okay.
You managed to, just in that moment of it being struck with the 2 blade strikes from Lady
Right.
Kima, you managed to pull your head
Sounds
free
good.
from its grasp and just managed to right yourself now. The throbbing pain in your head, what you just narrowly avoided, still there.
Okay. Poison dagger in hand. Roll an 18.
Okay. 18. Currently, that does hit.
I
Yes.
want to grab him by the calamari and stab him in the eye.
Okay. Go for it.
Calamari.
That's what I did. So, and then if I'm 5 feet, if Kima's there, I can sneak attack according to the rules.
Correct.
All right, so I'm gonna stab him in the eye. 1 plus the sneak attack damage is 19, 38 plus 7, 45.
45. All right. So as you...
Poison dagger.
Poison dagger. Are you using the... I think you've already used the daily poison ability.
I don't remember, so it's just a stab.
Okay, so 45 points of damage. You pull back and you jam it in the side of its eye. You can see as it rears back a spray of dark-colored liquid kind of warms the side of your face. As you pull the blade back out, it rears back. And you can hear its voice piercing your head, going, "I will eat you one way or another."
Oh, you won't. Did it distract him enough that we lost?
So that's
I'm really scared.
your.
I mean, I would imagine between grappling and stabbing, is that it for me, or do I get?
You get a second attack.
Okay, well, I think go fuck yourself and stab again. 9 plus
Stabby.
19.
19. Yeah, that hits.
Other eye. No. 2 plus 8.
8. Okay. The other, as it rears back and you hear it saying that, you pull back and you grab with your offhand the cluster of tentacles in the front of its face and pull it down. As you do the intermission, you jam the blade into the other eye. As you do, you hear this last burst of angry scream inside your head before it goes dead cold silence.
Yes!
Oh!
And falls to the ground.
I fucking hate these things.
We're still under it.
All right. That brings us to Clarota, who's currently stunned and fails save. Clarota's still stunned. Tiberius.
Okay.
I look through the door.
So this is one of the things that is I don't want to say necessarily risky about I'm trying to think of how to say this. It's not necessarily risky to have more people in your party. The problem is that as your party's collective power, like the power that they can bring to bear together, goes up, you have to start, placing more powerful enemies against them to really meet with them. And I've talked before about the action economy, how whichever side has more combatants, if they are equally matched in terms of CR, in terms of challenge rating, whichever side has more combatants generally wins. That's kind of how D&D just works. The issue here is that you can kind of get this almost reverse issue where, let's say that you want to make a fight that they'll win. So you have a combat which is, they have 7. Well, I mean, Clarota and Kima make 9. Oh, and I guess Grog actually makes 10. So 10. And they're like level 9s. If you want to give them an appropriate challenge and you don't want to put them against 9 enemies, say you want to put them against half of that. Let's call it 5. All of those 5 enemies have to basically be twice as strong as each PC. That becomes a problem because it becomes incredibly likely that one of the PCs will just go fucking down because these enemies are so strong. And this is not a 5v10. This is, what, a 3v10? A 1v10? I don't know how many Mind Flayers are in this room. I think it's 1. And, this is probably not an equal fight, but that Mind Flayer is still incredibly strong, still very capable of accidentally one-shotting one of the party if it gets the right one. If it gets Tiberius in those jaws, you're gone. Now, going down isn't the worst thing in the world, but you can get overkilled. Smart enemies will confirm their kills. Just gets a lot tougher. If you have like 4 people, see you, Senior Chewie. Yeah, have a good night. I'll see you later. But yeah, like, this problem becomes exacerbated the more combatants you get on your side. Imagine you have 4. If you're going 4v2, those 2 combatants are not nearly as strong than if you're going 10v2, right? Like you're not going to have nearly as many issues with accidental one-shotting. So it's something to consider when you have a ton of allies. What sort of challenges can you present as a DM to still make this challenging? My general instincts when there are this many allies on the side of the players is that I will generally present traps to whittle down their resources or like hard challenges to force them to use spells. And then the final, big combat or whatever, as well as maybe the occasional wandering monster that does not have it's strong, but it doesn't have a risk of one-shotting them. So it's going to get stomped by their party, but it's going to wear down resources. And then you can present them with a challenge at the very end that ostensibly is pretty weak, but they are so drained of resources that this challenge still won't one-shot them, but it does present a consistent and considerable threat across the length of a combat. Is that the entirely right thing to do? It depends on your perspective. It seems like Matt is trying to slowly whittle them out, but I think that, the Mind Flayer is a tough challenge if it has the drop on you.
We're still under.
All right. That brings us to Clarota, who's currently stunned, and fails save. Clarota's still stunned. Tiberius.
I look through the door. What's going on in here? Are there any enemies I can see?
You can see over here, barely. It's very dark in the far corner. You can see just the shape of some humanoid there.
Also, given that, most people are heading out, they're either going to C3 or, to one of many places, what I'll probably do, especially since this is such a long fucking session, it being 4 hours, that's enough for an entire other stream in and of itself. So maybe we'll get through this combat. Maybe if any of you guys that are still hanging out have some Q&A stuff, or if you want me to look at any homebrew or anything that you guys have made and post in React recommendations, we can do some of that. And we will leave the rest of this episode for Tuesday after they finish this combat. That sound like a good plan? If I don't hear any response to the chat, I'm going to assume that you love that plan.
Hey, is he?
What are you doing, Tiberius?
How tall is the thing?
Well, you can see it, maybe roughly 6-7 feet. Grog's blocking most of it.
No, like, we're in a bunker, right?
Right now, you're in a giant great hall with giant tables and stools everywhere.
And the ceiling is like...
You can't see the ceiling right now, there's no light. The room is near pitch black. Like, there's just a very little bit of light in there.
I will waltz in behind Grog.
All right.
Cast light.
Okay. The room all of a sudden bursts into view. You can now see the walls, the ceiling. It's a smooth stone room. There is a large chandelier currently hanging from the top of the ceiling. It's about 25 feet up to the ceiling from this current room.
That's fine.
Indeed. So yes.
And what now do I see that guy better?
You do, yes. You see now there's a Mind Flayer currently ducking behind one of the tables right now. You can see a number of your friends in the party are currently clutching their heads, silently screaming to themselves, unmoving.
There's another one of those guys over there.
Wait, there's another one?
Yes.
There's two?
There's two.
I spend 3 social points.
How many social points do you have left? You spent a lot over the past couple games.
No, I have not, because I didn't do anything last game, because I was all recharged.
That's true, actually. Okay,
I'm
just
not
keep track
doing
of that.
anything. I am.
How many have left?
That's fair. I don't think I've seen him use metamagic yet, actually.
You have 8 right now.
But now I'll spend it to go down to 5.
Okay,
Because
gotcha.
math.
Once again, 826LA, after school tutoring. Good charity.
I could have used it. I cast my pillars, or grand columns as I like to call it, all the way up and smash that little bastard.
All right.
Is Grand Columns a bonus action? Oh, wait. 3 sorcery points. Why 3 sorcery points? Because he's quickened spelling it, which quickened spell is 2. I'm so confused. I don't...
So what's the saving cast that for the spell?
He does a dex.
I think Orion is accidentally conflating twinned spell and quickened, because quickened is just 2 sorcery points. Twinned depends on the level of the spell. So I think that's what's happening here. I'm not sure though.
Save.
Something's wrong.
And he takes 66 damage. And the dex save is to see if he is pinned or not.
Right. It does make it safe. I believe it's 21.
Oh, man. What?
Roll a 21 versus your DC of your spell, which I believe is not higher than 21.
No.
So yeah, so it still takes the damage, but it's not.
Which is 15, 18 points damage.
Okay, takes 18 damage, and manages to pull out of the way just in time as it slams into him. He darts off and catches himself on the ground, kind of slowly levitating above the ground as he comes to a stop. The pillar then slams into the roof. This section here actually splinters part of the table, which is now kind of lift off kilter at an angle. Yep.
So does that mean he's in the air for like a whole round? Because how it works is he's all the way up to that height, but he has to come or fall back down if he makes the save. That's how. So he has to travel that distance. So does he cast levitate as he's coming down?
How I'm playing it is the impact of the pillar, something slamming him from underneath is what does the initial damage, and he manages to roll off before it slams into the ceiling.
Okay.
So, however, that ends your turn. The Mind Flayer now looking around and seeing the room lit up, seeing the entire group now in this room, looks around at everyone, puts his hands together and concentrates, and as it does, you see his form
No!
vanish.
Damn it!
A few seconds pass, you guys manage to shrug, you're stunned, and Clarota as well.
Whoa, what happened?
That's not good.
Yeah, they really know.
They really know we're here.
We need to get out of this room then.
Let's just search the rest of this floor as quickly as
As
possible.
quickly as possible.
Are they just...
Oh, Grog, can you always...
I'm sorry, is the assumption that they're no longer in combat? Matt didn't say that. The Mind Flayer could just be invisible, and you're still very much in combat. Like, invisible just gives people disadvantage, I believe, on melee attacks against you. Invisible 5e. I am.
Down the dust of tracelessness.
Oh, right, I will. He's doing his flower girl moment.
Flower girl.
That's fine, you guys. All right, so what is the current mode of action for you guys?
I'm gonna go ahead and dart down this hall that we know is for sure empty.
Yeah, invisible just is attack rolls against the creature have disadvantage, and the creature's attack rolls have advantage. You can still 1,000% attack it right now. Like it just says it's impossible to see without the aid of magic or a special sense. For the purpose of hiding, the creature is heavily obscured, but it did not have it, because I'm assuming it took its action to go invisible. It doesn't have an action to hide, so it's still either where it is, or it says the creature's location can be detected by any noise it makes or any tracks it leaves. So it would, if it moved, it would have made noise, and like according to the invisible condition, you can just track it using that noise. So you know where it is, you just have disadvantage on attacks against it.
To exit the other side of
So
the
we should
great
still
hall
be
we're in.
very much in
And I
combat
think
right
we
now.
should all go back up.
Unless this Mind Flayer is teleporting, which sounds arcane, which I don't think he would be allowed to do, because like Clarota's all, you know, Clarota's like a huge outcast for casting spells that aren't psionic. And I don't think that a teleport would count as psionic.
We should go to the second floor.
Something's happening here.
Yeah, let's
Look through here and see what appears to be some sort of a kitchen. You can see shelf units. You can see what looks like the table.
This is all, the reason I know about all of this is because players becoming invisible is not nearly as OP as you would think. I'll just put that one out there.
You can see some
Walk
kitchen
all the way
elements.
in. All the way in.
All right, you walk all the way in. There's a door towards the back.
Yep.
And to
Right,
the
the right, what do I see?
Right, you see what looks to be a doorway that's partially open that leads to a staircase.
Up or down?
Going up.
And what's in this room? I'm looking over here.
Okay, you look over here. It's a double door that is currently closed.
Man, they are really
I'll head in your direction as well.
speedrunning exploring this now.
You haven't taken a short rest yet.
Oh, that.
You have to, guys have to like stop and like take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to rest and do that. So.
Should look all over the Great Hall and see if there's any cool stuff in there.
I think what we should do, everyone, I think what we should do is make our way back to the initial storage room we were in and go up that stairway, because that one's hidden. It's by a hidden entrance. People aren't going to think about that one as much as main stairways.
I agree. I agree with that. I just think we should check the rest of the floor as well. Just double check everything. Make sure we didn't miss the things.
Back's heading back to the room.
Percy and I are checking this room with the double doors. Do you have any like trap checks to see if it's locked?
I do.
Okay, so first thing you guys open this doorway, opens up into what looks to be another smaller eating hall. This one's nicer. This one has one long table. So this is probably where the more socially risen.
So I was assuming that because the music was still going, that they were just going to keep on fighting. But I think now we're into more of a exploration phase. So with that in mind, might call it there. Especially because I know there's only two of you left. So I really appreciate whoever's left, and but I am probably going to take the opportunity, especially since there's no end in sight, to maybe take off early tonight. But like I said before, if either of you that are still here have anything you want to show me, share with me, what have you, let me check out the Discord. See if there's any small React recommendations. React recommendations. Am I in streamer mode? Okay, I am. Cool. Let's see. Critical Role stats. Oh, I already reacted to the D&D news. How long is the Vine compilation? Nah, nothing much. Okay. Well, oh, there's the character bios. We've watched that, or we've started watching it. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything quite short enough or quite simple enough. If either of the two of you that are left, I'm assuming it's Romer and Undead King. I could be wrong though. If either of you are not in the Discord, highly recommend joining. We do a lot of homebrew discussion, map making discussion. Just added some channels for talking about characters, NPCs, locations, things like that. So shameless plug for the Discord. It's a good time. More and more people are joining every day. But with that, I will play the outro. Ding, 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 ding. Ah, how nice. I don't know if Eden's in here listening to this while he's asleep, but hopefully, nightmare. Hopefully he has a very nice sleep and doesn't have any nightmares or anything. He has a nice time. And I hope all of you had a good time. I certainly had a good time. I know that this wasn't the most critical role heavy episode I've ever done, but I had a blast. I hope you guys did too. Just hanging out and talking with all of you. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.